Hey everybody, welcome back to the Court of Random Opinion. My name is Lauren Neidigh, and just for this crowd, welcome back to the internet where your cesspool is my jacuzzi. I'm here with Bruce from Oregon, and we have the latest in the Clayton Echard versus Laura Owens paternity scandal. I'm about to sneeze. Hold on.
Uh-oh, ladies and gentlemen, things
All
are
right,
happening.
that was it. That's the stream. Um, no,
Wow.
So Laura Owens, the serial.
Oh boy.
Oh my God, I can hear it. What is going on over there? Ah, I can hear me.
You were on my phone.
Oh, that's never a good thing. That's never a good thing at this time of night. Well, I guess
I'm not
it's
only a
daytime where I
commentator,
still.
I'm a viewer.
Yeah, right. Okay, so Bruce is he's looking a little different over there because he's moving out, so he's getting all his stuff packed up. Bruce, I don't know how much
Yes.
you want to share with the people about what's going on in your life.
Well, my life is mostly boxes like this, and then yeah. That's all.
That's cool.
That's it.
Yeah, yeah.
Home repairs and boxes. Yeah.
All right, fair enough. This woman again. Oh yeah, she'll never stop until she goes to jail. And that's what I've been saying all along. This is the reason I started this, like talking about this case in the first place. My very first video that, Dave Neal found and then encouraged me to keep doing videos. My very first video that wasn't a bad Fortnite video, because I used to do those for fun. That's why I had a channel. Dave found it. It was me talking about my job and how I work in like emergency psych, and how people were saying like, "Oh, this lady's crazy. Like, you guys are being misogynistic and terrible because you're talking about this crazy lady who can't help it. She's sick." And I'm like, no. This is not a psychotic person. All these signs are there that this person's very calculated. She knows what she's doing. She takes, whatever steps she needs to take in the right direction. She's very intentional with what she's doing. She's not like crazy, you know what I mean? And so that's how we got into this. And now here we are. She's going to keep doing this because she knows how to play the game, because she got away with it for so long. And I forgot what I was even talking about when I started saying that.
Well, Lauren, so there's help me out here. So there's people who have mental illness to the point that, they don't understand what they're doing, or they might commit crime as a result.
Yeah.
And then that's one end of a spectrum. And I think more on the far end of the spectrum of law-abiding citizens and well-adjusted human beings, for as much as we can be adjusted.
Right.
There's just what would you say? Just sort of mental health issues?
Let me give you like an example of someone who would be super like ill to the point where it's like it's unfair to criticize this person's actions. We had a recurring patient a few years ago when I was working at a different hospital. And she was well into her 50s at this point, but she always came in saying she was pregnant, and she believed that she was pregnant. And she like really, really believed it, to the point where if you would like do certain things, she would like cry and freak out because she thought like, oh, this medicine's going to be bad for the baby. And like, she was not pregnant. They did so many pregnancy tests on her. She just like could not hear it. She would see the results, they would show her the results, and she still like she couldn't accept it. Like, her brain would not accept it. She truly believed she was pregnant, and she was delusional to the point that like her functioning was impaired. So like she's walking through life like she's pregnant with this baby or these babies, and she's constantly thinking she's losing the babies, and it was very sad. And she would also she would get so upset with people at sometimes who were just trying to help her, because she was afraid it was going to be bad for the babies that she thought she was having, to the point where she would act out, get agitated, sometimes physically violent, because she was trying to protect the babies she really thought she was having. And she never faked a test. She never altered a document. She never, wrote a Medium article. She never did like the things that Laura Owens does. She doesn't steal an ultrasound. Like, she would never do that. She would never alter an ultrasound, alter medical documentation, much less doing that involving someone else, over a prolonged period of time. Because when this is over a prolonged period of time, and she's claiming, Laura Owens is claiming to have seen doctors, she's doing this over a prolonged period of time. One of those doctors would have at some point said, hey, like, something's going on here. You're not pregnant. So first of all, I don't think she's actually been seeing doctors the way that she says she has. And second, she knows that she's not pregnant, and she's not being honest with any sort of therapist or whoever she encounters, because she knows what she's doing, and she knows what to say and when, what she can and can't do. It's just she got out of her depth. She finally targeted a public figure where that person had a following, and now she's fucked. So
yeah. So now in that context, if that person has, maybe some like a narcissistic tendency or a detached or avoidant relationship type of approach,
sure.
Where would you put that? Or is there a category for that? Or because clearly doing these things isn't normal, right? Like faking medical evidence,
Right.
claiming twins with multiple people. It's clearly not average behavior. So what would you call it?
Well, it's if she knows what she's doing, because she wouldn't be faking all this stuff if she didn't know what she's doing. So at that point, she's intentionally harming others for personal gain. She doesn't care how it affects anyone else. That is antisocial behavior. What we would traditionally call either a sociopath or a psychopath. And I don't, normally come out and say like diagnoses, because I can't say like this is what she is, this is what she has. But I'm seeing these traits in this person. Her behaviors and her actions she's displaying antisocial personality disorder traits. And I've never really, come out and straight up said that before, but at this point she's still calling the fucking police and wasting emergency resources that needed for other people. And I'm like, well, what's the point? Like, what's the point of like padding my words? Because I don't do it with anyone else. So I got to stop.
Yeah. And I'm just trying to mentally categorize it. And just as the caveat for the audience, we're not going to diagnose anyone. We're not, you obviously have to evaluate someone in person in order to diagnose them. You have to actually be somebody qualified and licensed to do
and that's
diagnosis.
what my dad said. I think you were on the stream with me, right? When my dad was on the stream, we were talking about, were we talking about Sarah Boone too? I think it was that night. And we asked him about Laura, and he said what any like responsible board certified psychologist, forensic psychologist would tell you, which is, I can't comment on this. So if you see if you see someone like me on the internet, I'm commenting on this, right? Because I have a very specific job. I don't need a license for that. My master's is in criminology. So I'm not a therapist. But when it comes to like professionals, people who say like I'm a psychologist or I'm a XYZ doctor, and they're on TikTok, if they're commenting on specific cases like this, they're being very irresponsible, and it's kind of I'm going to be very
I know
of that person's
nobody's doing that. It's just I think we're just interested in figuring out, there's this spectrum of average behavior towards this level you were describing, where people literally have such a disorder they can't help what they're doing. And we're not talking about that end of the spectrum with this case.
When it comes to competency and stuff like that, there are going to be times when it's like very easy to tell because people are so sick. But even when it comes to like competency and stuff like that, it's like you can sniff that out from usually pretty far away. I don't diagnose. I recognize behavior. I recognize crisis patterns. So if somebody is psychotic, the specialization that I have is like I can recognize when somebody is, hey, something's not right here. What this person is saying is not exactly accurate. Like, you seem like you're a little off. This might not be true. You seem like you really believe it, but I don't think that's what's going on here. So say like the lady I was just telling you about, say she was younger, like 30, and like we really didn't know that she wasn't pregnant. My job is to kind of, sniff that out. Like, do you actually believe what you're saying, or are you just like acting out to try to, because like we do have people who will come in after a fight with their significant other and be like, oh yeah, I said I was pregnant because I wanted to upset him, or I said I wanted to hurt myself because I wanted to upset him and I wanted attention and stuff like that. So my job is to try to sniff out, like, is this person doing this because they're legitimately ill, or are they doing it because they have, ulterior motives that are usually not very kind in nature. And Laura Owens was a giant red flag to me. Like, this person is not, her intentions are not good. She does not seem to really believe that she's pregnant, or she wouldn't have altered medical evidence. So,
right.
Yeah. But just speaking generally, like I said, if you see a lot of like TikTok, like TikTok psychologists and stuff like that, like not all of them, but just like I've been noticing a trend lately where people really take things to heart when people comment on specific cases and are like, this person has this disorder, this person has this disorder. I'm like, what are you doing?
Yeah,
So
just
yeah,
keep an open mind, I guess. Don't
right,
yeah.
right. Hmm.
Yeah, we don't need to fixate on specific answers right away.
No. Anyways, so Laura Owens wrote a Medium post for Clayton Echard's birthday. Very nice of her. Where she is discussing her version of events for the 40,000th time. And she put in some strange details, which we're obviously going to go over and kind of debunk. But in the gist of this Medium article, like she's basically saying he started a smear campaign. He was turning his followers against her, and it's very like interestingly, it's very like Blake Lively type. They're starting a smear campaign against me. They're turning people against me, and I'm like, no, dude, no, you did this to yourself. Like you can just read through her Medium articles, find the inconsistencies, listen to what she's saying, and you can figure that out. So it's just interesting. I do think
Mm.
that she
I
saw.
guess yeah.
Go ahead. Yeah.
I guess 2025 is the year of the smear campaign.
Well, that's
That's
what I
the
was
hot.
kind of thinking. Also, she probably
That's
saw
what's
like
in this
that's
year.
I mean, it's trending right now, obviously because of the major public case that's going on, and she probably saw that and was like, oh, this will be good for my SEO or whatever, for my Medium blog. So I do have it pulled up here, so we'll go through that with you guys in just a second. It's not so. This is her latest one that she posted today, and I did not read the last one. Admittedly, I skimmed over it, the last one that she did, and I was just like, this is the same thing you've been saying about your newfound autism diagnosis, which you miraculously now have after you've already faked pregnancy several times and faked cancer. So I don't really believe that you have autism, but so I was just gonna
Yeah.
kind of like I wasn't sure if I was gonna cover this or not because I did stop
Mhm.
covering her Medium post a little while ago. Um,
The problem with the last one was it was just a collection of, uh, claims with no evidence,
mhm,
and then a lot of distancing or
yeah,
sort of like putting yourself in a position where you're sort of in the victim or the childlike role,
mhm,
like not being able to go to an airport alone without being taken advantage of, right? Which I think is sort of this strategy of distancing oneself from responsibility or
mhm,
accountability.
yeah,
So there wasn't really much other than that to say about it.
yeah. AKA the cat lady says, I honestly believe this is a form of Munchausen in addition to whatever personality disorder. I don't think it's Munchausen at all. It's all for personal gain. It's all very specific. It's all timed at convenient times when it's most convenient for her to take advantage of certain people or to make certain points. And she needs attention in certain ways. It doesn't track with Munchausen. To me, can I say that she doesn't have Munchausen? No, but to me, it doesn't track. So, but that's been raised a lot of times, so a lot of people have that opinion. I've seen it a lot, and that, I'm not saying you're definitely wrong or anything like that. I'm just saying I don't feel like it is necessarily, but that's a personal opinion. It's not, I can't say that for sure. So, um, AKA Clayton's birthday. Yes. If you guys haven't said happy birthday to Clayton, please do. It is still his birthday for another 2 hours or so. Bruce, did you remember to tell Clayton happy birthday?
Happy birthday, Clayton.
Wow, that
I
doesn't
don't,
count.
that's all
You
I
need to
got.
do the whole song and dance and everything, dude.
I don't know. I mean, I don't have his phone number or anything. Like, we're not best buds.
Mm, yeah. Well, I figured that you guys were attached to the hip since you live in different states. All
You
right.
never know. I'm a little
Um,
attached to his Airbnb. I had a good time there.
yeah. All right. Well, I mean, that is where we met, so I imagine you did have a good time there. Um, all right. Well, we can start reading this a little bit. Let's see. And I'm sure it's going to be exhausting. So everybody just buckle in. If you have popcorn, get it out because it's going to be a long one, I think. It looks like it's going to be a long one just from the scrolly thing on the side there. Yeah. Yeah, but there must be a dysfunction. Absolutely. Absolutely, there's a dysfunction. It's just something that she can control. She just chooses not to. All right. On August 1st, 2023, I filed a paternity case against former Bachelor star Clayton Echard following a sexual encounter at his apartment on May 20th, 2023. This situation quickly escalated into something far darker and more unbelievable than I ever anticipated. Well, there's some truth to that. There was an encounter involving only blowjobs. And it did escalate into something far darker. So there's that.
Yeah, notice this language, right? Sexual encounter. It doesn't really tell you much about
Right.
what that means.
Yeah.
It's very vague, and it's,
Hmm.
she doesn't say like, I had sex with him, he had
Right.
sex with me, right? It's very distancing language.
And for our newer viewers, because we do have some people in here that haven't been following this case who just like came to my channel because of the Baldoni thing and all that. For our newer, oh my God, Michelle's a love again. This is amazing. Hang on, there she is. There's
Yeah, we
Michelle.
got
She's
her
a
to
love.
we got her
You
to
got her?
change back in my last live stream on my channel, yeah.
Yeah, because that was confusing, man. It was me in a sweater. I was like, what's happening? All right, I missed the love, Michelle. Thank you for bringing it back. Okay, so anyways, she like they had oral sex right that night, and after that was no longer convenient for her narrative when that was exposed that they only had oral sex, she tried to change the narrative and say that she didn't want to have sex with him and he stuck it in anyways. She said that basically she said, and she has at some point outright said that he arped her, and I'm trying to not use the word because of YouTube. Outright said that he arped her. What actually happened was not that, just the blowjobs, because she sent him an email that said, if you knew how tight I was after not having sex for 2 years, then maybe, and I don't remember what came after that because I blacked it out. But
Yeah.
she sent him an email, and that was after their encounter that night. That was well after the encounter because he didn't believe that she was pregnant from blowjobs, and so she said, "Well, maybe you would believe me that it's not someone else's. Basically, if you
Right.
knew how tight I was from not having sex." And then
She
she
was
had the
trying to convince
audacity,
him that she hadn't had sex with anybody else.
right? Yeah,
And that was her 2 years of celibacy, apparently.
and clearly, it hadn't even been 2 years since she and Greg had their encounter. I think it had been, I guess, but I wasn't
Yeah.
sure. So
So
she
there's some contradictory evidence there. Like, we
right.
obviously weren't there, so we don't have direct evidence of what happened that night, but we have these contradictory descriptions from these emails.
Mhm. Yeah. Um, Miss Medusa 123. Hey, how's it going? I haven't seen Medusa in a while. How's it going? Um, Gross. Yeah, Gross is right, dude. He stuck it in. That's what she said. She said he stuck it in anyways, despite the fact that she emailed him
Hmm.
and said, "I, like I haven't had sex in XYZ amount. If you feel how tight I am, you'll basically believe me or whatever." So like
Hmm.
obviously they had not had an actual sexual encounter. Um, So, Danny Extreme says, "Woo, we're back in the cesspool." Yeah, we are.
Yeah. Well, I mean, yeah, it's very suspicious, right?
Yeah,
It's like this contradictory evidence that leads you down a path of, Clayton's got a story, she's got a story. Which story seems more convincing based on the totality of the evidence? And
right.
that's part of the evidence.
Hmm. Yeah. So basically, I totally believe her now after she said that. But the thing is, also, the damning thing also is the only reason anyone in the public sphere and I and Dave and anyone else even knows about this really is that she decided to put a Dropbox of evidence out on Reddit for everyone to see. And she redacted that part. She redacted the part where she said the type thing because she didn't want people to know that they hadn't had sex. So that seals it. So.
She also redacted Clayton's sentence where Clayton says, "We only had oral sex."
Mhm. Yep.
Why would you redact that unless you were
Right.
trying to present an alternative narrative?
I mean, why would you do any of this, to be honest? But you know. All right. Anyways, on October 6th, I sought and obtained an order of protection against Echard from the Maricopa County Superior Court after he sent a series of threatening text messages and posted false and harassing statements about me on social media. And where? Prove it. Where's your proof? Where's your screenshots? We know you love screenshots. Where are the screenshots? And show us how they were harassing and threatening, because he never made a threat towards you. Igniting a hate campaign that his
Yeah,
followers carried out. Go ahead, Bruce.
I'm not exactly sure what statement did he make that was false? Now, at some point, when they got into these DNA tests for paternity, right? He did make Instagram reels just saying, "Hey, I'm involved in this situation, and we're
Right.
going to take a paternity test. I'm not going," because she kept saying he didn't go to the paternity test. So he said, "I'm not," he made reels to prove I'm going to the test.
Right.
She needs to take the test on this day. This is my record of that. So he was just sort of documenting events as they were going to happen. That's not harassment.
Yeah. No, it's not. But she likes to frame things as harassment even when they're not. It's basically like, this guy wants nothing to do with me. He's harassing me. So, all right. So the order was clear, specific, and legally binding. Defendant shall have no contact with plaintiff, check, and shall not cause others to contact plaintiff other than as outlined herein, check. He has not asked anyone to contact you. In fact, he has explicitly said, do not harass this person. Defendant shall not communicate or post untrue or harassing comments regarding plaintiff online, check, including but not limited to on social media, and shall not cause others to communicate or post untrue or harassing comments, check again. Any comments that were even remotely close to being harassing were of her doing because she went to Reddit, a very large site, the Bachelor Reddit, no less, and not just that Reddit. She went to multiple subreddits and posted her fucking Dropbox and said, this is what this man is doing to me, and tried to get people to ruin his life, basically, and ruin his reputation and destroy his character. And so the fact that she did that and then is like, this man's telling people to harass me just because he's saying, hey, I'm taking a paternity test to show you guys it's not true, is absolute fucking bullshit. And I don't accept that.
Yeah, to show that he was trying to get followers or people on Reddit to do something, you would have to have some sort of communication. Like he would have to send me an email saying, Bruce, go say this about her.
Right.
There's no such email.
Right.
So there's no evidence that he ever told anybody to do anything. So these claims are very unsupported. It's, I don't know. And the other thing is, you know, based on my experience with places like Reddit or Discord or YouTube comments sections or whatever, you know, if you try to get everybody to do something or to, you know, if you try to convince everybody, like you're just never, it's not going to happen.
No.
Like, I don't know. Good luck. Like they're going to, you know, if you try to get them to do something duplicitous, they're going to figure you out very quickly, which is actually what happened to her. They figured out that her story didn't hold water.
Absolutely. Yeah.
It wasn't that Clayton was telling anybody to do anything. It was just people looking at evidence.
And the fact that somebody pointed out that she sent her story to The Sun and other tabloids as well. Like, how did we find out about her email inbox or her outbox, I guess? So, like, she at some point showed a video of her emails that she had sent to all these tabloids, and she didn't mean to do that, I don't think. She didn't mean to show people that she had emailed this many people. She was just trying to demonstrate something else. Do you remember exactly what that was?
Well, there were like screen recordings of.
Yeah. I just can't remember why she sent, because she sent it to Dave, didn't she?
Yeah, I mean, so in the beginning there was this Sun article, and then she went to Reddit and said, I'm the anonymous woman in the Clayton Echard paternity scandal. And she argued with them and put the Dropbox link there.
Yeah.
Of course, because of the Sun article, this is why Dave Neal started covering the case. And as soon as he started making multiple videos about, you know, the happenings in the case, she started emailing him this type of material as well.
Yeah. Right. She sent it to Dave, I think. Yeah, she sent all kinds of shit to Dave, man. Man, the only person she loves more than Dave is like Clayton, and maybe still Mike and Greg, but you know. Okay, let's see. So we got through. Where are we at here on October 6th? Sorry, I lost my place.
No, we're past I think we're back. We're down like 19 days later.
Writing a hate campaign. Okay.
You know, the other thing about this, if you do scroll back up to that, where it says she obtained, is this top paragraph? Yeah. She sought and obtained the order of protection. There's a lot of sins of omission in this writing. She fails to mention that Mr. Echard sought and obtained an injunction against harassment against her at about the same time.
Right. Yeah.
But she doesn't mention any of that.
No, of course not.
So I just wanted to point that out. That's important. The other thing about this order of protection that's very important is this order of protection was primarily obtained because of her testimony that Clayton had made a meme making fun of her with a picture of her on one of those Spirit Halloween costume bags holding a sonogram.
Oh, yeah.
And she said, well, that's my sonogram, and I only sent it to Clayton, so he must have made the meme, even though that sonogram was in the Dropbox that she posted to Reddit. So any Redditor could have made that meme. And one Redditor did come forward and say, that was my meme. So it wasn't his. And the judge, of course, said, well, Mr. Echard, since you made this meme and you put it on Reddit and everybody went crazy over it or whatever, I'm going to grant this order of protection. And that wasn't even her sonogram. So she lied to the judge that it was her sonogram. Her lawyer later admitted it was her sister's sonogram. So she fraudulently, in my opinion, obtained this order of protection.
Alice in Silverland, I'm reading your comment and it doesn't really make any sense. I know this case has absolutely nothing to do with Donna. I love both Dave and Donna. They're both awesome. What are you talking about? Because if you're just coming here to like argue about Dave, that's not going to fly here. I don't like shitting on other creators, even when I don't agree with them. I don't like that. So please don't. I will ask mods if she does it again, please give her a 24-hour timeout. But Alice, if you want to just hang out with us and talk about what the case we're discussing, that's fine. But please don't shit on my friend Dave. Because
that stuff's pretty off topic.
Yeah, and I'm not. Also, it makes me feel awkward as well because I'm like, I like these people and I don't want to be in the middle of this. So please just leave it alone. I would appreciate that. Some people like to kill squirrels and say that Jesus says it's okay, and they ride the backs of all the people that are trying to give messages between two worlds. Okay, so. Boy. Ladies and gentlemen, in the beginning of this stream, when we were talking about how you can tell when someone is actually psychotic, here it is. This is fucking weird. Mods, please send this person to the band basement. Thank you.
Oh, boy.
All right. Okay.
I do like Squirrel Girl in Marvel Rivals, though. That's good.
Character. I mean, there were some interesting little phrases in there, but I can't. Yeah, I understand they had a falling out. Please, somebody, please mute her. I can't. Don't make.
Yeah, they're taking care of it.
Okay, thank you.
It's all right.
Okay. I love Dave. Even if him and Donna are fighting, I love Dave. I love Donna. It's not my business. Leave me out of it, and don't bring it here. Okay. All right. So where were we at? Because we went back up here to read the order of protection. So we were at 19 days later, I think. 19 days later on October 25th, 2023, which is a long-ass time ago, when Echard fought the order at a contested hearing, the court doubled down. The Honorable Judge Duty, who lives up to his name, I should say, was blunt, telling him, it's almost like you can summon a tsunami with your followers. That is something that can be added as reasons for my decision under the harassment statute. You not only expressed your intent, and I have a lot to say about this, but I'm going to finish the quotes first. And I'm sure Bruce does too.
Oh,
You not only expressed your intent, but then I find that you followed through with it. You used the means that were available to you in order to frankly get her to stand down. Somebody fucking should. I believe that it caused the plaintiff to feel seriously alarmed, annoyed, humiliated, and mentally distressed. It made her feel that way as a subjective matter, and that it would have caused a reasonable person to feel the same way under the circumstances. The court finds, by a preponderance of the evidence, I'm holding myself back right now, that there is reasonable cause to believe the defendant has committed an act of domestic violence within the last year. First of all, okay, Judge Duty is 1,000 years old. I don't care how good he was at his job before technology took off. He completely obliterated this case because he didn't understand that Laura Owens altered the fucking ultrasound. Like, it was not her fucking ultrasound, and he didn't understand it. So he just kind of threw it to the side, like, oh, fuck. And also, after he blocked her number a gazillion fucking times, was contacting him from like at least a dozen phone numbers, harassing the shit out of him, hoping that he would say something that she could use to punish him in court, and somehow bind him to her for years. So it is absolute bullshit, everything that she's saying right here. But Bruce, I'll let you take it away.
Oh my gosh. Well, the very first thing in this quote, the judge says, "It's almost like you can." My problem is if here's the thing, if you're going to do a temporary restraining order to keep people safe, go ahead and grant it. But this is an evidentiary hearing. I don't care about what it's almost like. I care about what actually happened or what is actually happening. Okay. So this statement isn't a basis of facts. It's he's conjecture. It's almost like you can do something. And then the interesting thing here is with the ellipses. She leaves off he says something like based on the petitioner's testimony. Okay. So all he has is her testimony. He doesn't have any evidence beyond that. So that's a big problem right there. There's no good evidence to believe this claim. The other problem, if we go to the next one, um, is I think in the last paragraph here where he says, I believe it. What he's talking about here is, again, that Halloween meme that we already know after the fact that Clayton
Mhm.
didn't create, and he didn't tell someone to create it. And no evidence was ever shown that Clayton created it or that Clayton told someone to create it. In fact, her own lawyer for the paternity case demonstrated that other people had the opportunity to create it because it's not
Right.
her sonogram, it's her sister's sonogram, the
Right.
one from the Dropbox on
Yep.
Reddit. So, this is real strange. The other thing that's very interesting here in the final bold paragraph is he mentions domestic violence. But I think when we look at the original petition for the paternity case,
Mhm.
neither party checked the boxes that indicated any sort of domestic violence or
Oh, she did
SA
not.
or any
Right.
sort of criminal activity like that.
Right.
So nobody is claiming anything like that. And then she brings it back here to say the judge said it because that takes the burden off of her because now she can say a judge said something out of context,
Mhm.
right? From a, in my opinion, fraudulent order of protection hearing
Yeah.
that didn't properly look at the evidence in an evidentiary hearing.
Right. Right. Buttons Buttons just wants to add she was also wearing a big ass moon bump to court. The moon bump to court after the date she claims to have miscarried, where she did not go to the hospital and only called or texted a hotline, by the way. I should add.
Yeah, I don't know what it is. You were mentioning that judge was an older gentleman, and it's, I mean, when he
I
sees the
believe what I
lady,
said was he was a fucking fossil.
you walk with the dinosaurs. But anyway, he sees a lady with the large abdomen, and she says she's pregnant, and he just believes her. There's no clinical proof, there's no evidence.
Right.
He just believes her. And it's like, okay, that's fine if you're granting some sort of temporary restraining order to keep human beings safe from each other until you figure things out. But this is the time to figure things out. And he didn't do that.
Yeah. Give me 1 second. I was just texting Omar.
Hmm.
Um, okay, let me go through the starred chats really quickly.
Oh, yeah.
Millennial Mom, thank you for the $1 super sticker. Amanda Sherbert, thank you for the $1 super sticker. I appreciate you guys. You're awesome for being here. Millennial Mom, thank you for the 5. Don't hold back. Okay, we won't. We were totally going to do that, but now we won't.
I mean, I
Thank
will,
you.
but you don't have to.
Yeah, he probably will. Bruce, when Bruce gets angry, it's spicy, but he doesn't just get angry for no reason, So he's got a he's
Yeah, I mean, we're kind of litigating things here,
yeah.
So,
You're very smart and kind of I want to say like not like strategic even, just like very like you're very rational, I guess. Rational, yes. And like you're not
we try.
saying random words and being emotional like me most of the time, which is why we're kind of like working together a lot of the time as we're bringing different things to the table here. You bring the logic, the facts, and like all the like very specific, like I'm breaking this down, this and this and this, and you can and take that apart all day long, and I'm over here just like, well, she's a cunt. So
I mean,
so
I don't disagree.
so it works. It works. All right. Let's see. So did we get to hear the message? Is that where we're at?
Yes.
Okay. The message was unmistakable. Echard had crossed a clear line. But instead of retreating, he stepped on the gas. Echard launched a Why are we doing the dotties here and here and here? I call them dotties. Ellipses or whatever.
Like
Echard...
section breaks? I'm not sure.
Yeah, but the sections are so small.
I think it's like just delineating, okay, first we had this hearing, then other things happened, then I think she's trying to temporarily space it out.
Echard launched a calculated media blitz, dismantling my reputation in direct defiance of the order. He understood something devastatingly simple. If he spoke loudly and often enough, no one would hear my voice over the noise. Are you kidding me?
This is kind of crazy because,
you know, crazy as fuck.
The guy made one or two Instagram reels about the DNA testing for his paternity case. That's about it. And then I think, he made a reel before the evidentiary hearing and maybe one after. And that's all. That's not really speaking often or loudly. You note this isn't like a list of all the things he did, right? It's not an Excel spreadsheet. It's a bunch of sort of emotionally charged language, like devastatingly simple. Like, what's the difference between simple and devastatingly simple? Like, it doesn't really mean anything, but it's there to evoke an emotional response.
Right. Well, devastatingly simple is something I would apply to Judge Judy, but that's fine. Christina Erickson, thank you for becoming a member. I appreciate it. All right. So this is where it starts to get really, like, she's quoting things here that don't mean what she's trying to say they mean. And I'm like, Bruce is going to have to, like, steer us in the right direction here because I'm just going to get mad because I skimmed over this part and I was really mad. But in January 2024, Echard gave an interview on the Vial Files. He called my protective order against him fake, praised his little Reddit army of followers, and bragged, "I'm going to tell everything everyone wants to know about the situation." Directing his audience, he urged, if you go on Reddit, look up Justice for Clayton, you can find out all of her information. It's important her name gets out there. And I'm going to pull up the Vial Files podcast transcript in a minute so we can compare that. Determined to keep the pressure building, he insisted, "I'm asking people to blow the story up. I'm looking for strength in numbers," and declared, "We've got to get this thing to blow up nationally." Desperate to legitimize his attacks, he cast himself as the victim. Do you really want to? And urged others to join him. If you're someone that's been victimized by her, please reach out to me because we're only going to overcome this in numbers. Well, it is a large population, Laura. On the Not Ashamed podcast, he revealed in the chaos he had unleashed, in the chaos he had unleashed, boasting, "The community of people that keeps uncovering and supporting me is tracking her every movement." And it's like, you brought this on yourself. That's true, though. None of us would have ever known about this if she hadn't brought it to us on Reddit. He wanted me hunted, humiliated, and destroyed. He's literally said the opposite, "You stupid bitch." And he wanted credit for it. Literally the opposite. Again, "You stupid bitch."
Also, this is this emotionally charged language, like hunted. Like it's not deer season. What does this mean? Destroyed. We're not going to the the waste management facility to take our trash out. What does destroyed mean? It doesn't really mean anything in the context of this case. It's just a bunch of rhetoric.
Yeah.
Now there are quotes here, of course, but keep in mind, January and beyond, this is past the point at which we've already had all of the RavGen DNA testing done. So it's not like we're at the start of the legal action here, right? We're not at the start of the paternity case. We're way, way into it. And we've already seen a lot of lack of evidence, and we've already seen the RavGen DNA test come back little to no fetal DNA. So by the time we're in January, when he's on the Vial Files and beyond, because I think some of these other podcasts are even beyond that, it's already a thing. It's not like he's bringing it to the media to begin with.
Right.
without waiting to see what happens, right? It's not like he's speculating. He knows that she has no evidence. He knows that the Ravgen tests have come back little to no fetal DNA.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. But it was harassment for him to talk about that, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's so weird because apparently it's okay for her to go to the Sun. It's okay for her to argue with people on Reddit. It's okay for her to email Reality Steve, Dave Neal,
Oh yeah.
etc. But if Clayton does anything, it's not okay. This is a big double standard. And again, Clayton had an injunction against harassment against her. She had an order of protection against him. And again, I think the order of protection she got was fraudulently obtained based on the evidence.
Yeah.
In my opinion.
Right. Oh man. Okay, let's see. For a year and a half, again, it's like a very short section here. For a year and a half, the harassment has swallowed everything. Well, you should have swallowed. Then this would be done. My reputation, my safety, and at times my will to live. Again, she takes out the vaguely suicidal statements at strategic times to try to make people believe her. And it's not working because she's done that so many times. Like, there are people who are genuinely like seeking help, and there's not attention seeking behavior, but cry for help behavior, right? And then there's attention seeking behavior, and she crosses the line into attention seeking behavior. If she was genuinely feeling this way, her lawyer, who she was strategizing with, would not have published that shit on his blog. He would have gone to get her help. So I don't believe that at all. And also, she's said this so many times, and it only comes up when it's convenient to try to get people on her side. There's, obvious that she obviously doesn't plan on stopping this anytime soon. She's future oriented here. She has plenty to live for. She has her family, her horses. She's had everything in her life that she could ever possibly need to be successful doing whatever she wants, except dating these men. And she couldn't take their rejection, so she threw her life away and burned it down into nothing.
Yeah. So two things I noticed with this. So one is, in terms of these threats, right? Like, oh, the blood will be on your hands, Dave Neal, or these self-harm sort of oriented statements. They always sort of come at this trade-off, right? Like, if you stop talking about me, then I won't want to hurt myself, or right? Or if you drop this case, I won't sue you later.
Yep.
It's very manipulative, and those are the red flags I get. Whereas somebody genuinely in trouble asks for help without conditions. And every time she does this writing, it's somehow related to a condition. Like, Clayton needs to stop talking about this case, otherwise XYZ. Dave Neal needs to stop making videos, otherwise XYZ. It's all condition oriented. Instead of someone asking for help, would just ask for help and say, how can you help me?
Right. Like, I'm struggling. I'm having a really hard time. I don't know what to do about this. Yeah.
Themselves.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the other thing, I think you're right. They had a successful, her parents had a successful business and house in San Francisco. They were able to move to Arizona. They're all set up. They can do a podcast. They have horses. She can rescue dogs. Basically, like, you could just do whatever you want in life and be happy. Instead, she's engaging in this excessive lawfare over and over and over again. The thing it reminds me of is do you know this hungry ghost concept?
No, I don't.
It's like this Buddhist thing where it's like the idea is there's this abstract idea of these ghosts that no matter how much they eat or these, they're always hungry and they can never be satisfied, even though they've got enough to be happy.
Yeah.
And so that's what this reminds me of.
Okay. And like Bruce was just saying, there's always conditions here. It's what we would call secondary gain. So if we're talking to somebody and I'm trying to figure out, does this person really want to hurt themselves, or is this person, maybe not an imminent danger to themselves? Maybe the thought has crossed their mind, but they don't really want to do it. What we would look for is like, is there a secondary gain aspect here? Is the secondary gain the thing they're trying to achieve with the suicidal threat? Is that most prominent? And at that point, it doesn't mean that person's not in danger necessarily. because it's deeper than that. There's a lot more you have to look into. And it's a lot more than I could explain in one live stream, which is not about that subject. But like I will say, I would then ask follow-up questions, like to find out if there are things in their life that they have done that are impulsive, if they've ever made decisions to maybe do something that put them in a bad situation or harmed themselves in order to get a reaction from people, in order to get like achieve a means, in order to kind of it's like a means to an end situation. Those are the kinds of things I would look for. And this situation and everything we're seeing, and the reason I feel most confident about all this is because she lays all this shit out there for the world to see, and then she's like, why are people talking about me? I'm like, well, you're literally putting your little plans out here to punish these men. Every time she puts out an article like this, it's like very transparent to people who now understand everything that she's done over the last 10 plus years to all of these men. It's very obvious, like this is what you want. There's an end goal in mind. And no, when I question that, when I openly question that, when she had her suicidal thoughts posted on her lawyer's blog before the trial, she then pretended to be someone else and emailed me pretending to be an ex-boyfriend of hers, saying, oh no, you should take it seriously. So that to me, it's more than enough to say, I don't believe you.
Yeah, it's very interesting. Her attorney said that she writes these blog posts in reaction to things, like maybe the court ruling or something like that. But what is the reaction for this post? There's nothing to react to here. We're talking about things from 2023, 2024. These are not recent events. And I think, as you pointed out at the beginning, it's Clayton's birthday.
Right.
And Thursday, I believe, is Dave Neal's birthday. So maybe
Yep.
this post is coming out because of these events are coming up. I mean, I don't know what this is a reaction to.
I mean, I wouldn't be shocked if she did another one in 2 days from now. So
there you go.
For Dave's birthday, because she's not yet having her horses graze on his lawn or whatever the fuck she was saying that she was going to do. Like, that's crazy, man. That's crazy. The obsession runs deep, because it's like, what else are you at this point? What else are you? Do you do anything else? It generally doesn't seem that way, because she's either trying to convince people that she lays in bed all the time and can't get up and can't do things, or she's like out horse jumping and stuff and then downplaying it to where it was like, oh, well, no, I'm just so sad and it's some other person's fault and it's not my fault. It's this dude's fault because I gave him a blowjob and I was totally pregnant with his twins.
It's almost, do you think there's like some sort of mental compartmentalization going on here? Like there's sort of the Laura that goes to Barry's boot camp and jumps horses and wants to start a business or do podcasts. And then there's the one that can't do anything, can't interact with society, can't travel to an airport by themselves without potentially getting ripped off, that they can barely function. It's almost like these are two different people.
Right. The people who can barely function, they can't just turn it on and off like that.
Yeah.
This is very telling to her actual mental state, which is like, I'm just using this as a means to an end. Like we were just saying,
it's like these modes. It's like she has, the regular mode where she's going to the horse show or doing a podcast.
And she's been, saying that she's
mode.
Right. Well, she's saying that she's like lying in bed crying all the time when she was clearly traveling out to California and all these other places to do her horse jumping competitions. So like what you're saying is clearly not true, because there are verified like photos of you and results of these horse jumping competitions that show you were traveling and out having a good time with your family and competing and stuff like that. And that's great for you. Like, I want her to do that. I just want her to leave people alone. Like, leave her victims alone. That's it. If she were tomorrow to decide, I never want to talk about this again, I surrender on the appeal, I will pay Clayton his money over time, and I'm going to go off and do my thing. Whatever, man. I would never say another word about her. But she won't. She's going to continue doing this and calling the police, which we haven't gotten to yet, because she keeps making these frivolous calls to the police to try to get these men in trouble. Like, it's ridiculous. So,
yeah, there's no good answer, on her attorney's interview. with Reality Steve and Rachel Juarez.
You call it an interview. I call it a beatdown.
Or
dude.
one of his
Not-
videos.
Not
You know,
good.
they basically asked the same thing you did. Why doesn't she just, pay the bill and walk away and just
Yeah.
everybody will go away? And,
Mhm.
her attorney said, well, she wants redemption. The problem is when you're in the appeals process, you're not arguing over the facts anymore. You're not going to convince the court of public opinion anything. You're just nitpicking on the legal procedure of a court hearing to see whether or not you should pay attorney's fees. If you win that appeal, that's not redemption.
Mhm.
So I just don't, there's no good answer yet.
Yeah. Oh man. All right. Where are we at here? Are we at despite or do we go past that? We
Yes,
got through
despite.
okay.
I think you
Despite.
can treat each ... as like 20 Dave Neal videos in a montage or something. Like you hit the fast forward button and it's like 20 Dave videos and then you're on to
Right.
the next section.
Yeah. Somebody says they're oversharing. You should overshare. You can overshare here as long as you're not being rude to anyone else. Do it.
Yeah.
Go ahead,
Boy.
overshare. I love stories.
That's how
Obviously,
we
I
learn
listen to them
about
all the time.
That's how
Yeah.
we learn about the love fetishes.
Yes, we want to know about your loves. Because everybody else in the world definitely knows what that means. Oh my gosh.
Oh,
Rob
boy.
says, is there another appeal outstanding? It's a reconsideration motion. And it's due on, or his response is due on the 5th, I think Brad said.
Echard's response. Yeah. So that's a motion
Yeah.
for reconsideration. If that doesn't work out for them, they can appeal with the Supreme Court of Arizona. If that doesn't work out for them, they can appeal with the United States Supreme Court. Good luck.
The fact that he even thinks that's going to go through is hilarious, dude. Like, I can't. Oh my gosh. Okay. Despite the fact that I had no interaction with him after October 2023. From which phone number?
I don't know if that's true. Is that true?
I think
That sounds suspicious to me. I don't know.
it might be true, but she's like saying basically she's like saying I didn't contact him or whatever. But the fact is, how many numbers was it that she contacted him from after he continuously blocked her, like 12 or 13? Do you remember how many it was?
What, the 14 phone numbers or whatever?
14. Yes, 14. Okay. I was like, how many phone numbers was it? Is what I was wondering.
It's
So she
around a
continuously
dozen.
she continuously contacted him through like 14 different phone numbers, and if she stopped contacting him, it was probably because he was bringing that injunction against her. So that's not like a good faith representation of what happened. She was a crazy ass stalker.
And it depends on what your definition of interaction is. So obviously they had court filing motions in their court case, and they had an evidentiary hearing in February and another one in June. So obviously those were interactions.
Mm-hmm.
It just depends, unless you're very pedantic about like, I didn't walk up to him and talk to him in person.
Yeah.
Right.
Right. Oh boy. All right. Despite the fact I had no interaction with him after October 2023 and filed to dismiss the paternity case against him in December 2023 after I miscarried, an attempt he blocked. Okay, let's go.
That's another claim with no evidence.
Right.
There's
Exactly.
no evidence there's no clinical evidence of miscarriage. This is
didn't she after the point she claims to have miscarried, she showed up in court with a fake belly on.
Yeah.
So
well, I mean, yeah, that's the February hearing, right? So if you think about the February hearing, the other interesting thing is they did file a motion to dismiss, but then in the February hearing, her attorney was basically saying, look, we're just going to amend our petition to try and explain this miscarriage if we can.
Right.
And if the judge or if the court wants to consider our motion to dismiss a request for attorney's fees, then that's okay. So in February through June 10th, she was going after attorney's fees and Clayton was going after attorney's fees.
Right.
Again, it's a double standard where she just wants to only highlight that she had filed a motion to dismiss. And, oh, he's coming after me for this money. They were seeking damages too. Or at least attorney's fees, I should say. And you can clearly see this if you just watch the February hearing on Schnitzel Ninja's channel.
Right. Yeah. Oh my lord. Okay. So where do we get to? He portrayed me as the one who wouldn't leave him alone. In an interview more than 7 months after my last contact, he called me a cockroach that just wouldn't go away. Well, that's true. And a pest, again, true. The mere act of defending myself, of telling my story and writing on Medium, which is what we're reading right now, became in his mind an unforgivable offense. Well, it is offensive if you're lying. If you keep pushing my buttons with these stupid articles, I'm one button away from being pushed, he warned. Okay, Bruce, did he ever, in those texts, or did he ever contact her and say that? Like,
this is a new quote for me.
yeah, I've never heard him say anything like that. And if he did, it was definitely in the context of like a podcast where he's like, I'm going to tell the truth if you don't stop. I'm going to come out and I'm going to spill out all our business if you don't stop.
Yeah, we don't have the context here. So even if this quote is accurate, like he actually sent this in, is he talking about like the Sun articles or is he talking about the Medium articles? We don't know.
Right.
Even if he's talking about the Medium articles, they are, full of demonstrably false claims or claims with no evidence. So they are, I don't know. I would classify those as stupid. Because if you make a bunch of if you make a bunch of claims with no evidence on Medium, which is a place where you don't have discourse, you don't have any litigation, okay? It's not like there's independent verification of your claims. That's an anti-science position because at that point it's just rhetoric, propaganda, and it's claims with no evidence. That's an anti-science position, and I would call that stupid.
I'm glad you arrived at that conclusion. I was there in the beginning, but yeah, I mean, I like I said, I never heard him say anything like this. But if he did,
I don't think we've ever seen any text messages with this quote in it. I could be wrong. Someone, the comment section will
at the
cite
very
it if
least,
it is out there.
at the very least, he never said it to her because she started writing articles after he had like blocked the shit out of her 13 or 14 times and she wouldn't leave him alone. So at the very least, this is like something that he said, like he was just talking about his experience and he wasn't literally talking to her.
Oh, you think this isn't a text to her. You think this is him just sort of telling his story to a podcaster.
That's what I'm
one of the podcasts. That could be true. There was a Arizona podcaster he did a series with. And so he could have told his story from this perspective during that podcast series. I may go back and listen to that again.
Yeah. All right, let's see. His threats were calculated promises, each more sinister than the last, as he coldly pledged, "We have to drain her of her money." When did that ever happen? When did he ever say that?
I don't know.
I genuinely think she made that up. Like, if she doesn't provide sources here, then it's generally like she made it up. Like,
yeah, there's no citation, there's no link, there's no timestamp. I mean, that's a very common thing with her and her attorney is to make a claim, but then not back it up with a URL, a timestamp, anything like that.
He vowed to go full scorched earth on me, boasting he was getting a little fire under him, as if destruction was not just inevitable but deserved. I remember the quote, like he was getting a little fire under him. It was after the trial, and she wouldn't stop. And he was just like he was like feeling like he was finally at this point where like he won the trial, but she would not stop slandering him. So he was just kind of like, it's putting a fire under me. Like I might just want to like come out and like reveal everything. And honestly, that's fair. That's fair. She's still dragging his name through the mud after she lost in court. She lost her appeal, and she's still. And at this point, he had not yet. Like there wasn't an appeal yet to lose, but still, I remember that quote, and that's not the context that it was in. That's not what he was saying. Like that, she's like framing it in a way that's like very disingenuous right now, and is ridiculous. So.
Because if you imagine yourself in Clayton's situation where you're like, hey, I've had this paternity action that's filed against me. I think it was filed in bad faith because there's no way she can be pregnant. And even if she is, I can't be the father. And she filed an order of protection against me that again, we think is fraudulent.
Right.
That she is on the offensive. Okay. And this is like she's criticizing the Green Bay Packers for putting their defense on the field when
Mhm.
the Minnesota Vikings put their offense on the field and then
Yeah.
complains because the defense is talking some shit on the field. That's just the nature. That's the nature of she is the petitioner and he's the respondent.
Like her lawyer hasn't been talking shit this whole time.
Of course he's going to get fired up and put on a defense because he's under attack.
Yeah. Then, as if it was the most natural thought in the world, oh my god, you gotta be fucking kidding me, right? I thought I should burn this person. So he's like explaining his thought process, and I vaguely remember something like that. I don't know if that's exactly what he said, and I would say that it's not because she's disingenuous here. I thought I should burn this person. So he was kind of describing how he like got to a very dark place mentally because of the abuse that she was subjecting him to, and he was like, I should basically burn this person figuratively, like I should put everything out there and I should just like fight her and like make it ugly or whatever. And then he didn't do that. She did. He didn't do that. So he was explaining like his process of like, I'm so upset and angry that this person's abusing the shit out of me and lying about me and trying to ruin my life. I thought I should burn her. I should do this back. But he didn't. So the fact that she's quoting that there and cuts it off is disingenuous. So fuck you, Laura. And somewhere along the way, he justified it all to himself. The high road isn't getting me anywhere. Well, that's kind of true. I mean, anyone who's tried to take the high road with Laura, it's not getting them anywhere because she still continues to abuse men that has had nothing to do with her for years. They're married with children and wives who love them and have every wonderful thing in the world to say about them. And you can tell that they're good men because I know these people now. Bruce, you've met them. I mean, you've met all of them, right?
Yes.
Right. So we've met them and I know these people now and I know that they're not the people that she tries to paint them out to be. And it's not fair what she put everyone through.
Yeah.
So the high road isn't getting me anywhere. That's a valid description of like the mental turmoil that an abuse victim goes through, an emotional abuse victim goes through. It's like, I'm doing my best to like, just to stay above it and just to try to keep living my life and doing my thing and not to retaliate by like smearing this other person and putting all her business out there. But like, that's a valid thing. It's like, that's not getting me anywhere because she keeps attacking. So the fact that she's framing it as like, that's a negative. The fact is, this guy was just talking about his mental health and what he went through when she was abusing him and continues to do so through the courts and the fucking police, as we're going to see later in this article. We're only about halfway through, I think.
This criticism, because, just this statement alone, criticizing this statement, it's hard to take the high road, right? This is true in all aspects of life. Like if I go to work and the management is making bad decisions and, what do they say? Shit rolls downhill in corporate America. It can be hard to take the high road, right? You drive on the road and somebody's driving like a maniac and you want to flip them off, right? Like this is normal human experience. And she's criticizing it, which to me seems like she has this real detachment from, I don't know, relationships, a detachment style. Where she feels justified in criticizing these things to the point of it being a double standard or something like that, or just not reasonable.
Yeah. My God. All right. Echard's next move was to rewrite history loudly, publicly, and methodically. On June 2nd, 2024, 8 days before our evidentiary hearing, and more than 2 weeks before Judge Mata's ruling, and she writes out her whole name, Judge Julie Ann Mata, just like I write out Laura's full name, Laura Michelle Owens, for the algorithm, ruling in the paternity case I filed against him. He appeared on the Charlie Kirk show saying she was never pregnant, the whole thing was a lie. That's a fact. Bruce might not be willing to say that, but I am. That's a fact. The whole thing was a lie. She was never pregnant. Sue me.
Well, here's the problem. If she says she was pregnant and then doesn't offer clinical evidence of pregnancy, paternity, miscarriage, what's the difference between never being pregnant and being pregnant and failing to provide all the evidence? Yeah. They're functionally the same at the end of the day when it comes to the legal system, right? So, then the only question is, do you think the person brought the case in bad faith, which once you look at all the, uh, you know, the instances of perjury or tampering medical evidence and things like this, it's like, well, sure.
Yeah.
A reasonable person would have like sought the clinical evidence needed for their paternity action after filing it. Okay.
Mhm.
Let's say you take the P-stick HCG test and you're like, I think I'm pregnant, and you file this paternity case. Okay, that's fine. But then you go get clinical evidence of pregnancy, paternity, and then if you have a miscarriage, your miscarriage, and you provide it to the court since you filed this action. That's the part where she really failed.
Mhm. Yeah. All right. He viciously attacked my positive blood and urine HCG, pregnancy hormone lab tests, including one that he purchased and had me take in front of him. That's disputed again. Basically asserting you can manipulate them, which she did. I know she did. Later, he told Reality Steve that they're known as pregnancy HCG tests for most people, but not her. And that's a valid criticism because you were obviously never pregnant, but you tested positive for HCG, which can happen when you're not pregnant, especially if you're taking certain medications or hormones, such as horse pills, which Laura loves horses and she has lots of them. So, or she's had lots of them, I should say. I don't know how many she has right now, but they're known as pregnancy tests for most people, but not her, and that's a valid criticism, like I said. He didn't stop there.
And again, he viciously attacked her tests. I
He
mean,
said words that I didn't like.
the test is an inanimate object. You can't viciously attack it. So again, she's doing this sort of emotionally charged language, which doesn't really make any sense. I mean, there's nothing wrong with a blood and urine HCG test, but you have to be scientifically honest and say it's an indicator of pregnancy. It's not clinical proof of pregnancy. And she's never done that. She conflates an indicator with clinical proof and hopes we don't notice.
Right.
And that's the one thing I've never heard any of them address, her or her attorney or her mother.
Not her mother. I don't know. All right. Let's see. He didn't stop there. He targeted my miscarriage next, labeling it a fabrication, cruelly dismissing one of the most painful experiences of my life. Okay, if it was so painful, why didn't you go to the ER? This lady apparently texted a miscarriage hotline. She texted a hotline saying, "Oh, I think I miscarried."
There's no evidence of miscarriage.
Nope.
You know, if there was clinical evidence of pregnancy and at some point later, I guess her blood HCG test was low, I guess maybe you could infer a miscarriage, but we don't even have that because we don't have the pregnancy predicate. So you can't infer a miscarriage without clinical evidence, and we have none. So I don't know. And the other thing is the date of this supposed miscarriage. If you go back and watch the February hearing, her attorney, Corey Keith, says that the miscarriage must have happened after she filed her paternity action. But if you watch her latest attorney interview with Reality Steve and Rachel Juarez, his assertion is that the miscarriage may have happened before she filed the paternity action. So she doesn't even seem to know when it happened, yet it's apparently one of the most painful experiences in her life. Something that she didn't even notice. Is that really painful, emotionally or physically? It doesn't seem consistent.
I mean, I could see that so let's separate Laura Owens from the situation. If we're talking about some random woman who's like struggled with, or like maybe even struggled with fertility or something like that, and this happened, and then she found out later that she had miscarried, I can see that as being a very, very painful experience, because it's like, wow, I lost it. Like, I wanted a baby and I lost it. Okay, but that's not her situation, and she's appropriating it for her own gain, especially because she stole an ultrasound off of the internet from a woman who actually went through something called vanishing twin syndrome. And I'm sure Bruce remembers that as well. And she used it as if it were her own at some point before the trial because they were going to try to pass off this vanishing twin syndrome defense, which was later just totally abandoned. Probably because her lawyer knows that that was not her ultrasound. And Dave Neal actually got in touch with the mother of the surviving child of that. So she definitely lied. She definitely stole that off the internet. There's no question about that. And she will not mention it here because, of course, she's just trying to paint this guy out as a bad guy. She's not going to say anything that she did wrong, of which there are many things. So,
yeah, we should mention there were actually 2 verified stolen ultrasounds. One was the one in the Gillespie case, which was stolen from the lady with the vanishing twin syndrome.
And I get them mixed up because
the one in the
so much stuff.
Yeah, the one in the Clayton case was the video she sent to Reality Steve that the folks on the internet sleuths found the source of, and then Dave Neal lined them up.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And the lady with the vanishing twin syndrome, was that the same as the fiber ultrasound? I can't remember.
I believe so.
Okay. So she had somebody alter this ultrasound for her so she could pass it off as her own. But she didn't even pay the person who edited it for her. So they left the Fiverr logo in the ultrasound. And Dave and Megan found it live while they were on a live stream. And so she's like, she just even doesn't address it or she denies it. I know when David Gingras has been confronted with it, David Gingras, her current attorney and most recent attorney through all of this, who pretends not to know this stuff, he just acts like he doesn't know what we're talking about. So, but it was an obvious, there was an obvious Fiverr logo in there. That's not just something that shows up by accident. You don't just accidentally have a Fiverr shaped logo in a fucking ultrasound.
His strategy is basically to ask his client about it. And then she'll tell him, I don't know anything about that, or, oh, I never did that, or I never said that. And then so he just parrots that.
Mm-hmm.
That's his strategy.
Yeah. It's, oh my God, it's infuriating though, because it's like this man clearly has the intelligence to figure out that his client was not pregnant, and the way that he keeps trying to gaslight everybody into thinking that he doesn't realize that is ridiculous. So she's like, and not only is it not going to work out for you because this is never going to be heard before the Supreme Court, but also you're going to look stupid in front of your peers, and you're going to be a laughing stock for the rest of your career. So.
Yeah, I mean, if it was merely a matter of somebody made a mistake and brought a court case and it was a mistake, an honest mistake, that's one thing. And that's sort of his position. But there's so many red flags in this case of manipulation, right? Deception, lawfare. I mean, you can't ignore all of that.
Mm-hmm. Oh my God. All right. Let's see. So we went through the miscarriage thing here. Echard later falsely declared she makes up rape claims. She makes up having ovarian cancer. Both of those things are true. I will say that. I have been raped. She says, I have been raped. I have never had cancer, thankfully, nor claimed I did. She did, in fact, claim that she had ovarian cancer with one of her earlier victims, Mike Maricini. She claimed to have had an ovary removed, but what actually happened when she went into the surgical suite that day was they wired the hinges of her jaw to her ass cheeks, which is why she keeps talking so much shit.
Oh, boy. Oh, gee. Now, note, this is interesting because see what she does here. She says, she quotes Echard as saying she makes up our claims, SA claims. Which is plural. And then her refutation of this is just to say, I have been SA'd. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Now, she could have literally been SA'd at some point in her life. Okay. And this statement she makes could be true. It doesn't refute his statement if his assertion is about their case where she said, oh, I told him not to stick it in and he stuck it in. And he never remembers doing that or never did that, which is his story. So from his perspective, he can be talking about this. She hasn't refuted that. in
Mhm.
this at all. So she's going around the side here a little bit,
Yeah.
which seems disingenuous to me. And the cancer one is interesting because that one to me is very interesting because she uses a photograph in her TEDx talk to
Mhm.
claim that she was an SA victim of Mike Maricini
Right.
in her TEDx talk. But that same photo series or photo set
Right, yeah.
found in his laptop through forensic investigation,
Mhm.
where the context for her visit to the hospital was something completely different.
Mhm.
So to me, that's like, well, you're using these photos in one context at one point in time for one reason. And then when it's convenient, you're using it for a totally different reason in another
Yeah.
context. And you're hoping people won't notice
Right.
that you've done both of these things. And that's
Mhm.
hasn't been explained at all in any specific way. It's only
Yeah.
in these unspecific ways here.
Mhm. Well, I remember going over that with Brad, the photos that you're talking about from her when she was in the hospital.
Right.
She
Yeah.
probably went she probably did go. Like, she went there for something else. She
Oh,
went to,
sure.
like, get checked out or something because they put you in a gown no matter what.
Yeah.
Or if you're even if you're having, like, a pap smear, they're gonna
Yeah.
give you a gown. So and when Brad and I were looking over those, I remember I saw the tag and I was like, "Hey, can we zoom in on that?" And I remember seeing these two separate incidences she's talking about. She has the same lot number on the tag of her gown, the same
Yeah.
exact lot number, everything down to a T. That
Well, yeah,
does
it's
not
clearly the
happen.
same photo
Right.
set.
Yeah.
It's
So
very
that just made me so angry, though. I remember that. I was just being like, wow, how the hell this woman's been getting away with this for so long. How the hell do you think it's not going to catch up to you at some point? And I guess like normal people are not going to be able to fathom that because it's like, why would you even make those claims? But it just made me so
yeah.
angry.
Well, in the past, she's only had to contend with like one person to argue with, whether it's
Hmm.
Mike Maricini by himself or Mike plus
Right.
his sister's boyfriend, or Greg Gillespie by himself, right? Or Greg,
Hmm.
yeah, by himself. It's only once you got to this case with Clayton, just because he happened to be on The Bachelor and she
Hmm.
happened to go to the Bachelor subreddit and argue with Bachelor Nation
Yeah.
and true crime sleuths. Like, once you do that, you're not going to win. They
Right.
will find all of the evidence and, reveal the truth, right?
Hmm.
That's why I said this case, a lot of people liken this case to Baby Reindeer, but for me, it's more like the Don't F with Cats documentary, just because the community found so much information
Yeah.
independently.
I didn't think I watched Baby Reindeer and I actually didn't think this was similar at all. I thought the woman in Baby Reindeer was actually very sick.
Mm,
So
okay.
and she's not. So
Yeah. I think it's more about the, just like lots of texts and maybe the sort of stalkerish elements of
yeah,
it.
oh yeah, yeah.
Those are the themes that people find similarity with.
Very
Obviously,
yeah, there's a bit the behaviors are the same, but there's an element
yeah,
of like sinister like thoughts behind it in one hand, and the other hand is just like
yeah,
wild, disorganized like
hmm
psychosis.
hmm
And I thought that Baby Reindeer had an element of actual delusion, actual psychosis to it.
The other
That
thing with
Laura does
Baby
not.
Reindeer is there's a whole thematic arc in there about the I forget his name, but the male main character and the
Richard?
past trauma he went
I think it was
through.
Richard, right? Is it Richard? Guys in the chat?
Yeah. So that's a little bit different for
Yeah.
sure. But
Mhm.
it's these are no two cases are ever going to be exactly the same in these court cases. And I think that's why they're interesting because you can find similarities and differences between different
Yeah.
court cases and they're
Yeah.
interesting to compare and contrast.
Oh man. All right. So we got to hear she said that. Okay. But even this was not enough. On the Charlie Kirk show, he demanded, I want this referred to the DA because she should be prosecuted. Okay, well, you should be prosecuted. But Rachel Mitchell is too busy dealing with actual poop. Bruce, why don't you tell us a little bit about Poopgate? Because I know we were going to get into that tonight. What the
Oh my
hell is
gosh.
Poopgate? Because I actually do want to know.
Well, I sent you a link to the article, but the Arizona newspaper has an article. I think it recently came out. It was on the Justice for Clayton Instagram reel today. Apparently, somebody used one of these mailing services to mail some poop animal poop to Rachel Mitchell. Not just her office, but to her house, I guess.
For
And
those of you guys
so,
who don't know, Rachel Mitchell is the county attorney for
yeah,
Maricopa County where this all went down. Basically the district
sort of
attorney, but
like a
they call it something
district
else.
attorney.
Yeah, all right.
And she received that on Valentine's. Now, normally I'd be like, well, who knows? Maybe Lori Vallow Daybell sent her this poop. I don't know, right? Like that's going on in Maricopa as well. But like, it arrived on Valentine's Day, which is interesting because Miss Owens claimed originally that the due date for her supposed twins was Valentine's Day. So it's the twins' fake birthday, the fake twins' fake birthday. And the county attorney who is investigating Miss Owens receives the animal poop service at her house. Suspicious? I think so.
Wait, let me pull this up.
Yeah.
Yeah, you did something. Someone sent poop to Maricopa County Attorney Rachel Mitchell. Police are investigating. That's all this says. AZ Central.
Yes.
But that's hilarious. So I mean, it's not hilarious, but it is hilarious. You know?
Hopefully, our good friend over at that's the newspaper, right? AZ Central. Hopefully, our good friend Jimmy Jenkins is investigating that case.
Right, man. Right. Oh my god, that's so crazy though. So the thing with the poop senders is the poopsenders.com is I thought about it once. I was gonna send it to my sister's ex because he was a real dick. And he really hurt her feelings. And so I was gonna send him some poop from poopsenders.com. And then I looked it up because I was like, how traceable is this? And it turns out it's actually very traceable. So whoever sent Rachel Mitchell poop from poopsenders.com is fucked.
Oh, I look forward to learning who sent it. Maybe Chase J. Jones sent it.
Yeah, probably, man. Kimbo says, I deal with poop every day. It doesn't count if you do it. God.
Yeah.
Well,
they use like this. What do they use? They use this exotic poop, right? Like an elephant or what is it? Orangutans or something. Like it's supposed to be super fresh and super smelly or something.
It's not real, man. It's not real. It'd be hilarious if it was.
Not real poop.
It's not real poop. No, it's
What
not.
is it? It's just some sort of like.
Okay, this is we get
concoction.
derailed on this. It's about time for us to get derailed here. Poopsenders.com.
Who has the? Can I get the recipe from Jamie Oliver, or who's got the? What's the?
Sure, pretend you don't have it for dinner. Anyways, the ultimate gift, sweet revenge, guaranteed anonymous, package tracking emailed instantly. So guaranteed anonymous is not accurate. If somebody files a police report,
yeah.
Okay.
Well, also, like, not just if somebody files a police report, but you send it to the county attorney. Like, they have, like, if anybody can figure out who sent it, it's going to be the county attorney. I mean, come on. Is it really elephant poop? I don't know. Is it? What is it?
Let's go to FAQ and find out.
Can I get the recipe? Can I get the recipe from Guy Fieri? Can we go to Flavortown? What's going on with this stuff?
Is it real poop? Only the mad scientist that packs this stuff in the back room knows for sure, and he wouldn't tell us, but we do know this. It really smells bad back there. He is mixing up shit, and he does visit the local dairy farm and zoo about twice a week. We also don't want the delivery company to actually know what kind of shit they're delivering. We can assure you that it looks nasty and really stinks. It will get the point across to your intended victim.
Oh, boy.
Hang on.
This is not a solid answer from this company.
Here we go. Unmasking poop senders, and this is an appropriate chapter for a Laura Owens article. So it's really we're like still on topic. Let's see. Sarah had not ordered anything online recently, so she viewed the white bubble envelope addressed to her with some suspicion.
Oh boy.
Oh, hang on. Let me move our.
Proceed with caution.
That's not.
Oh, this is not right.
There we go. All right. Let's see if I can zoom us in a little bit. Okay. Hopefully people could read that. Hang on. If I could just... Nope. Again, no. There we go. There we go. Perfect. Okay. We'll zoom in a little bit more. Sarah had not ordered anything online recently, so she viewed the white bubble envelope addressed to her with some suspicion. There is no direct mail delivery in her section of Koisman, a town of 7,256 in upstate New York. Her husband brought the package home in a regular haul from the post office. It was stuffed with a lump-shaped object. The return address gave a P.O. box in Allison Park, Pennsylvania. Proxima, a professional artist, did not recognize it. Eventually, she gave in to curiosity. Inside was a plastic bag containing a chunk of grass and goo that looked and smelled like cow shit. It looked like a muddy, poopy pie. Proxima's own motherboard.
She has a way with words.
The plastic bag also contained a small card. It read, "You have been pooped on."
No.
And this is what Rachel Mitchell received at her house, apparently.
Yeah.
Want to know by who?
3 question marks. Oh, the suspense.
Proxima had to open the bag and release the scent to flip the card over.
Oh,
but on the other side were the taunting words, "We'll never tell," and a web address, poopsenders.com.
That's marketing for you.
Proxima is one of many victims targeted by these anonymous poop packages. Oh my lord. Since 2007, Poop Senders has sent through the U.S. Postal Service realistic-seeming animal feces to whoever its customers deem deserving. The site suggests your ex, your mean boss, or the teacher that gave your son/daughter a poor grade as potential targets. Prices start at $18, basically, plus $10 shipping and handling for a quart of cow poop. There are also elephant and gorilla varieties.
$28. Now we know why Ron Owens had to do a GoFundMe.
And then they're talking about what we just read in the FAQ, which is it real poop? We'll never tell. The website dubs this the ultimate gag gift, but for years it has been used to add a nasty salvo to petty disputes. In 2014, a woman sent a Poop Senders package to a neighbor who filed a complaint about her barking dog. In 2019, a waiter in Austin used it as a revenge for negative Yelp reviews. Some recipients say they feel harassed. Well, yeah!
Oh, my.
Proxima says the package came after a brutal local election cycle in which she campaigned for a slate of Democrats who ran on protecting the region's natural resources. Natural resources was what says here front door. The response was a campaign of online harassment. On Facebook, she and her husband were called property Nazis and had their faces pasted onto memes, and several people aligned with them were then sent a bag of realistic poop as a final insult. Yeah, so this is harassment. That is harassment, yes.
Wow.
That's bad. The message from the people who sent it was, "This is what we think of you. We can get something like this into your home," said Proxima, who felt particularly vulnerable.
Very threatening, right? That's threatening language. Yeah, because they're implying they could send something else that would do more harm.
Right. Because she was pregnant at the time. It crushed us. We shut down after that. She has suspicions, but still doesn't know who sent it. Poop Senders promises its users complete anonymity, and the proprietors of the site have also remained nameless and unknown until recently. So they did get found out. As part of a legal proceeding, I can't believe this is the name. This is the name of an actual lawsuit. United States of America versus poopsenders.com.
Well, you know, if the United States of America has to litigate against someone, at least litigate against poop senders. Like, okay, I'll give it I give it 2 thumbs up.
Oh my god, dude.
I mean, if we can't litigate to get Canada to be the 51st state, at least we can file a lawsuit against poop senders.
Poopsenders.com. Does Poop Senders deliver internationally?
Oh boy.
All right.
That might be a customs charge.
Federal prosecutors have named in documents the father and son duo they believe are behind Poop Senders. John Santanastaso and his son John Edward Santanastaso, who live in the suburbs of North Pittsburgh.
Oh, Steelers fans. Oh, of course.
Explains a lot, doesn't it? All right, let's skim through the rest of this. Multiple emails were sent, phone calls made, and physical notes left in order to interview both of the Santanastos for this story. In mid-December, the elder called me and agreed to speak at a later time. He did not answer when contacted again and did not respond to subsequent communications. Well, he probably just sent you a piece of poop, right? The mystery of Poop Senders began to unravel, ironically enough, after an internal dispute at the U.S. Postal Service led to a package of poop being mailed to a postal inspector.
Wow, that's even worse than mailing it to County Attorney Rachel Mitchell.
Maybe
Wow.
he forwarded it to her, man.
Well, it was an error, I guess.
According to court documents, a postal supervisor in Michigan was victimized and
Oh.
harassed by means of crude Facebook posts, minor personal property damage, and recipient of a package of imitation feces,
Oh,
perhaps
yeah,
as
so it wasn't a
retaliation.
mistake. Yeah, okay.
Hmm.
Wow, talk about winning a Darwin Award, sending
There was a
sending poop in the
subpoena.
mail to a
Yeah.
mail inspector.
The Pennsylvania Department of State does not have an incorporation record for poop senders or poopsenders.com, according to its online search portal and to a representative of the department. Huh. Okay. Subsequent events leave little doubt about the association between Sant'Anastaso and poop senders. The subpoena sent was ignored, the lawsuit states. According to the lawsuit in July of 2020, an agent acting on behalf of the Office of the Inspector General, I can't believe the Inspector General is involved, hand-delivered a follow-up subpoena to Sant'Anastaso. It was also ignored. How do you ignore a hand-delivered subpoena? I mean, ask Laura Owens, I guess. All right. This moved U.S. attorneys in the Western District of Pennsylvania to file United States of America versus poop senders, a suit asking a judge to issue a show cause order which would force poop senders into court to explain why they ignored the subpoenas. A memorandum filed in connection with the lawsuit notes that poop senders goes to great lengths to obscure and conceal a physical address. Oh my God. According to court records, on December 4th, a process server, someone paid to yeah, we know what that is, successfully handed a summons to Sant'Anastaso's son. Those records allege that Sant'Anastaso is the president of poop senders and that his son is a manager of some kind. Who's the handler? That's what I want to know.
A manager of poop?
On December 15th,
put that on your LinkedIn.
The U.S. Attorney's Office dismissed the lawsuits because the defendant has complied with the subpoena. Okay, so it was them. That was the end of United States of America versus poop senders, but the case linked the two names with the site, as well as an address in Pennsylvania.
Do we ever find out what the poop is made of, or
I don't
what?
think so.
Uh,
Hang on, wait. I'm going to skim through and see if we can find it.
I feel like we've digressed way beyond
We totally have.
the limits of rational comprehension.
I learned nothing from that. Hang on.
Wait, go to the end. Do they say what the poop is made of?
I didn't see it. Hang on.
I guess when they unmask it, they're just saying they figured out who runs the company.
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah, no, it doesn't.
I want to know is it real poop, or is it like,
Here's the second result that
some
comes
sort
up.
of
California.
space-age polymer?
It's on r/legal advice. California. Somebody keeps sending me shit from poopsenders.com.
Oh dear. I want to sue for harassment. Here we go. The policy of the company is to keep it confidential. Subpoena.
This is why I'm saying you shouldn't use this service. A subpoena would quickly reveal who is using this service to harass you. You are not safe if you use poopsenders.com.
Well, if they comply with the subpoena. So if I was poopsenders.com, I would not comply with the subpoena until a judge was about to hold me in contempt of court, and then I might.
Oh my God, there's another one. It's shitsenders or shitexpress.com.
Oh wait, there's multiple. Is that like the Temu of poop senders? What's going on?
Okay, this one says. Okay, this one. I think this one has it. Okay.
Well, they've got the owners. I don't care who runs the company. I just want to know what this stuff is.
Disturbingly realistic imitation poop. So we know it's not real poo. I don't know what it is though. So there's a lot of fake feces flung around the United States.
Fake. What's it made of?
I don't know, dude.
We need a chef. Is there a chef in chat? We need Paul Hollywood to make us some fake poop. I don't know. How would you do this?
Yeah, they're not going to tell
chemist.
us, man. I guess nobody ever subpoenaed the recipe.
It's probably locked in a safe, like the Coca-Cola recipe or the KFC 11 herbs and spices or something. I wonder if there's herbs and spices in the poop.
Back to this other pile of shit. We were still on Laura Owens' article here.
Finally.
Wait, let me move this. Let me close all these poop-related tabs I have
Now that
open on my computer now.
Now that we've popped the poop off the stack, we can get back to the original
Go
article.
for real.
To put that in programmer's terms, since somebody was asking me if I could program.
Oh my god. What did I just walk into? Cassie says, I'm sure she was like listening while we were on poopcenters.com.
Oh,
But
Cassie.
this was all poopcenters.com, also related to the Laura Owens article.
Oh, Cassie, sweet summer child. If only you knew.
Yeah. Where did we get to? So we finished She Deserves to Be Behind Bars. Are we at just one day before the June 10th hearing?
Yes. Let's say yes.
Are
we were on the Rachel Mitchell poop part. Scroll back up.
Wait, there was that poop part in here? It's the Rachel Mitchell part.
Okay. Yeah. This is where we were.
Okay.
Well, we read that. Okay.
Okay. Yeah. In another interview, he coldly stated she deserves to be behind bars. Hopefully she gets put away for years. Where's the luck?
Okay, that's fine. He has an opinion.
Bruce, I'm gonna ask you to read while I go pee.
Oh boy, here we go.
I have to pee.
All right.
I have to pee. I'll be right back.
I'll see what I can do. All right, guys. Oh,
I believe in you. I'll send you poop if you don't.
Oh no, threats. Oh, should I give in to these threats, guys? What kind of show should we run here? What do you guys want to do? Have some coffee? Let's read the rest of this article. Just one day before the June 10th, 2024 evidentiary hearing, Echard posted an Instagram video. He stood at the center, flanked by Gregory Gillespie and Michael Maricini. Wow, this is very formal. I feel like I'm in prep school or something. 2 men I also have active protective orders against. You know, when you're living your life and you get to the point where you have 3 or more people that you have active protective orders against, you need to ask yourself why that's happening, I think. Oh my gosh. Echard painted the 3 as victims. I mean, yeah, from their perspective, they are victims of her lawfare and harassment and fake twin plots. So I don't know. She puts victims in quotes because she wants to minimize it and trivialize it as if it's not true. It's certainly true from their perspective in this video, and she's, demeaning that here. And declared, quote, "We are going to make sure she faces the consequences of her actions. We're all here to see her referred to the DA for prosecution." And that's fine. And the other thing she doesn't mention, again, sins of omission. She doesn't mention, they never said her name in this video. So it's like, come on. Echard didn't just attack my present, he sought to obliterate my past. Obliterate my past. Well, so if you get referred to the DA for prosecution, they will look to see if there's anything worth prosecuting you for. It's not like the flip of a coin. It's not like, well, maybe the DA will do something, maybe they won't. They'll bring charges if there's a good reason to. If there's no good reason, then you have nothing to worry about. So this is a little defensive to me in terms of the language here. And again, obliterate my past. What does that mean? I don't know what that means. It's vague and weird. Okay, although the San Francisco Superior Court issued a CLETS, domestic violence restraining order, wow, all caps, DVRO, against Maricini in 2018, and again in 2020, formally recognizing me as the victim, Echard rewrote the truth, insisting in reality, she's the aggressor. Well, you were the petitioner or the aggressor of filing a restraining order. Anybody that files for a restraining order is the petitioner. If you file it for bad reasons, then it's fair to call that person an aggressor. So again, she doesn't refute any of this. She just says, I don't agree. Well, fine. But if you want to convince me, the reader of your article, you have to provide really compelling evidence, which you've failed to do here. Okay, speaking about my TEDx talk, oh boy. EM dash, she uses a lot of EM dashes. I don't like them. Just write short, clear, crisp sentences, Laura. Okay. A story recounting how a stranger on a plane slipped me a note during a flight with Maricini. Recognizing that I was being abused, well, maybe making an assumption. There's a difference between, being a witness to a crime that's prosecuted and then providing a witness statement and handing someone a napkin on an airplane. These are not the same thing. So we cannot conflate them. Let's see what else is going on here. Echard dismissed it outright. What does that even mean? Dismissed it outright. Although he has no knowledge of what the woman had witnessed, nor of what I endured during a relationship that ended in 2017. So this is again a little. I've seen this in the Lori Vallow case, where she says to her, she gets interviewed and she says, "Were you there? If you weren't there, you can't say anything about any evidence." And it's like, look, you can have evidence where you don't have to be there. Okay. So if you come to my house and a tree is fallen over and you look at where the tree used to be attached to the trunk and it's like sawed by a saw, you can guess that somebody chopped. It wasn't like lightning or something. Okay. Like you can infer things without being physically present. That's called standards of evidence. And what she does here is she tries to manipulate people to not think critically about standards of evidence. For example, we have Mike Maricini's testimony. We have Mike Maricini's laptop that's been forensically analyzed. She discounts all of that and says, don't pay any attention to that. Only pay attention to the narrative I have because I was the only one there. So that's what I think of that. Let's see. Okay, the last paragraph here says, I'll just finish this off to get to the dots. Echard demanded the TEDx take my speech down, saying why her TED Talk is still up. It's a TEDx talk, not a TED Talk. So she's she needs some editing here because she turns it from a TEDx talk to a TED Talk, which is not the same thing. Is still up, baffles me, ... Take it down. The whole thing is based on a lie. You're letting a liar play the victim card. Shame on you. And again, we talked about the picture, right? The picture she uses in this TEDx talk has multiple instances of use. So it's like, well, what is it? It's clearly, I think there's other things in that talk that are refuted by the evidence on Mike's laptop as well, the text messages that the forensic investigator looked at. Yeah. So, yeah, it's a good question. Why is the TEDx talk still up? And she doesn't refute any of the reasons people have actually discussed in the past about why they think the thing should be taken down. She just says, somebody made a claim that it should be taken down. That's mean. Woe is me. Again, this is a victim mentality. It's not, she's not litigating properly here. She's telling a story to try and evoke an emotional response in order to manipulate the reader. She's not litigating properly with standards of evidence.
Well, this lady also, she thinks being a victim is like a patch you earn in Girl Scouts or something. It's a fucking curse. And that's why so many people are outraged about it. It's like, this is not like a cool thing that you can get attention for. You know, like most people who have been through this, like we don't want to air all those details out. We don't put a fucking Dropbox online and be like, look at everything that I've been through. You know what I mean? Like most people who just like want to quietly go about their lives and heal and would love, honestly, to see the perpetrators of their abuse go to justice, but know that it's not honestly realistic. We'll look at this woman trying to victimize these innocent men and feel absolutely disgusted. And I feel sick to my stomach sometimes when I read her articles like this. And like now I'm at a point where it's like, this is just stupid. And so I can make fun of it. But in the beginning, it was very, very hard to read and to just think about my like younger years when I was like 19, 20, 21, and I was going through abuse that I felt like I couldn't tell anybody about at the time. It was like 2010, 2011, 2012. And it was a different time. Like you just couldn't talk about things the way you can talk about them now. You couldn't just be openly gay the way that you can be now as well. So I felt like very trapped. I felt like I had no way out. I felt like I had to just suffer through whatever my abuser wanted to put me through because he was in a position of power over me as well. So I just felt like there's no way out of this. And so thinking back to that time in my life and how much I just wanted nothing more than to just escape that and figure out who I was. And I did. I moved to Arizona at that point. I moved all the way across the country to get away from that. And I'm thinking about Laura Owens sitting here texting this man from 13 or 14 different phone numbers and then writing this whole ass article and everything else that she's done. And I'm just like, what the fuck do you think you're doing? Who the fuck are you to appropriate and exploit that experience of so many women who felt like they can't even speak up about it, and to like lie about it and to abuse the system meant to protect those women in the future and ruin it for everybody else just so you can what? Get some clicks on your horse videos? Fuck you. So.
Yeah, there's a lot of stolen valor in this case. I mean, imagine being this woman who had to go through, this vanishing twin syndrome pregnancy, and then years later find out that somebody has stolen your ultrasounds for nefarious purposes, presumably. That's very painful.
Yeah.
And, there's plenty of people in the audience that are so passionate about researching or uncovering evidence in this case because they've been through those situations. We've talked to pathologists, psychologists, lawyers, DV victims, and the list goes on and on.
Right. Teresa, thanks for joining us. We've had a few C word and a few F and S words or two from Lauren so far tonight. Ken missed the C word. I'm sure there's more coming. Well, just for you, Ken, don't be a cunt. I love Ken. I wish I could give him a hug. All right, Bruce, you finished here at the. You finished here at the. Okay.
Montage.
On June 18th, Judge Mata handed Echard exactly what he wanted. A block for your phone numbers for eternity. A referral for criminal prosecution and, shockingly, $150. Who was shocked but you? $150,000 in legal fees, despite the fact that he had incurred no legal fees at the time I moved to dismiss. In December 2023, after I miscarried. Fuck you, Laura. The case is currently being appealed.
they keep bringing up this thing about that paragraph's very important. They keep bringing up this thing that she filed a motion to dismiss, and he had quote unquote no legal fees. Well, I'm sure he had filing fees, or he had consultant fees with a different law firm compared to Woodnick Law or something. But even if it was $5, the problem is that ignores how the court system works, right? The fees are for the entire court action, not just up until a point at which somebody files a particular motion. That's, by the way, the motion she wants the clock to stop on the fees. Okay, it's very convenient that she's able to say, well, up until this point, there were no fees, so why don't we just call it quits, take the balls, and go home? The other thing that refutes that claim is, again, in February, her attorney was asking for fees also in February for the June hearing. So she didn't just want to go home in December. She wanted to carry on in February. So again, she's omitting all of this, but it's very important, and it sort of ruins her argument.
Yeah. Oh, man. Somebody says, how much longer is this article? About 4,000 paragraphs. We have about 5 hours to go. No, I'm just kidding. It's not that much longer. We're over halfway done, and we'll probably start escaping at some point towards the end here. Okay. So when I finally contacted the Scottsdale Police Department, she says finally, as if she hasn't done this before. When I finally contacted the Scottsdale Police Department on April 21st, 2025. That was last fucking week.
What happened on April 21st? Did Clayton do a podcast or something? Like what?
I actually didn't.
No, I don't think so. What happened?
I think he was like out of the country, right?
What happened on April 21st? Why are you calling the police on April 21st?
I thought maybe you were being sarcastic, but no.
No, that's what it says.
She's actually just insane. Like, I don't know.
Like, what prompted calling the police on April 21st? She doesn't explain it.
I have no idea.
This is strange. Finally.
I'm trying to see if he posted anything on the 21st. I don't see anything. Hang on. This is from
was it just like she was on YouTube and a bunch of really old Clayton podcasts came up and she got triggered and decided to call the police? Like, what was it? The YouTube algorithm that caused this?
Apparently, dude. What? I don't know. Like, there's nothing here because I'm looking at his Instagram and there's nothing. This
doesn't explain it.
No, it doesn't make any fucking sense at all. And
here's her explanation.
Here is her. So she's abusing police resources yet again. Here is her police report that she's showing us. It has no information on it whatsoever. It says, I don't know if you can read that, but it won't let me zoom in. It won't let me zoom in any further. She redacted some stuff here. Reporting
Well, Lauren,
location.
I got to remind you, press hard.
No, she redacted the name of the officers and location. She thinks that we won't be able to look that up or like find out what she did, because like the thing is, if you're abusing the system like this, people have a right to know. That's why these are public record. So Laura, it's not going to work. But report citation date and time 4/21/2025, 16:52 hours. So at sometime before 5 p.m. on April 21st, which was the day after Easter, so like last Monday, she made a police report against Clayton Echard, who was, to my knowledge, not in the country. Not in the country. Like, not in the state. Not in the country. Like, he was off doing his...
Is there something in here that indicates what prompted this report?
No, this is it. This is it. Look, there's nothing. It says Laura Michelle Owens. How can you be contacted? Laura Michelle Owens. And then she redacts everything else, which is fine because, like, nobody needs your phone number, because even if we had it, you would just have 14 more. But I request my rights in this case. It says, I understand that I must keep my mailing address and phone number current with the agency or court responsible for providing my rights. Failure to do so can mean that my rights are waived. I also understand in order to make any changes to the information supplied on this form, I must contact the appropriate agency or court.
But is there anything? Is there anything here that isn't just a form?
No.
The form document?
No, this is literally it.
This isn't telling us anything. Then.
There's nothing else. And she's saying, so look in her Medium article, she's saying, a response arrived via email. There is probable cause that a crime has been committed against you. But the thing is, this is all she actually provides proof of. So there is nothing here that says there's probable cause that a crime has been committed against you. That is fucking dumb. You're dumb, Laura. You're getting dumber.
Well, I mean, it doesn't convince... It's unconvincing, right? Because I don't know what we're talking about. Right.
Laura VR redacted uploaded 1 day ago. I don't know what any of that means. If anybody can do anything with that, go ahead. So again, request/waiver exception per ARS section 13. I don't know what that means, but basically victim or lawful representative signature emailed. So she emailed a police report, and she's now using the email of the police report in this Medium article to try to pretend that the police said a crime was committed. She's lying. There's nothing in that report that she links. She literally linked that to these words. There is probable cause that a crime has been committed against you. She linked this document to these words, and that is not on the document. She's lying.
Wait, this quote isn't in the piece of paper we were just looking at, right?
No, we can look at it again.
So she's talking about a different email then.
Right.
But we haven't seen that
allegedly.
email.
There may and very likely is not an email that says that. She's probably making it up. If it wasn't that she, Laura,
we just don't know. The problem here is
she's watching this right now. So Laura, if you want us to believe that, post the email you got in response unredacted. Unredacted.
What crime are we even talking about? Like, there's
we'll
nothing
put it
here
right
that
next to your
explains
HCG test that you faked. Jesus Christ.
Oh boy.
But no, I don't see that anywhere on here. I'll double check it over one more time. So the phrase we're looking for is, there is probable cause that a crime has been committed against you. So let's look at this one more time.
No, because I think this is her. This is like her input into the system, and what she's talking about in the blog is she got a response. So it's a separate email.
So she's just being intentionally disingenuous.
Well, it's just unclear. Like, I can't figure any of this out. Like, what happened that made her file this?
Legit nothing.
What is the rest of this response? Because she's just cherry picked a sentence out of it. If
there's no context whatsoever, and nothing happened.
Yeah.
She's just upset because it's Clayton's birthday. To be honest, she's upset because it's Clayton's birthday. He's getting lots of attention, and she can't have his attention. And she still
wants to
wants
bug him on Easter because she didn't get a chocolate bunny or something.
Fucking probably. I don't know. It certainly seems that way. I mean, anybody who reads this stupid-ass Medium article is going to go watch the files and see what he said and know that you're batshit fucking crazy. You may not be psychotic, Laura, but you're fucking nuts. You're an asshole. No apologies.
Yeah, I don't know.
That,
There's not
dude,
enough information here, which is very
there's
typical of
not
this
enough
case from her
information
side.
because she lied. Like she always lies. It's a lie.
I mean, that's a reasonable hypothesis for sure. But,
I mean, she could easily just Photoshop another document like she Photoshopped all those ultrasounds and HCG tests. She could Photoshop the shit out of that or redact the shit out of something, send it to the police and be like, here, look, there's probable cause that this person is committing a crime. And they might have emailed her back and been like, oh, there's probable crime. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, I mean, we don't know what kind of claims she made. This is very similar to the Liz Neptune harassment email, where she made a claim that Liz Neptune was harassing her and got the police in, Florida, Broward County, to send her back an email, which was a little more than a form letter. And then she used that email to say, look, these guys are behind me. It's very similar to that.
She did that. Like, and
this is the playbook, right?
Liz Neptune lives just a couple hours from me. It's like she did that on the holidays.
And again,
across the country.
Here we are, April 21st. So we're on Easter Monday. Okay. And then here we are again publishing this article on Clayton's birthday. Right. She did the Liz Neptune thing. What was that? Christmas or New Year's or something? It was one or the other. Yeah. I mean, this is the playbook. The pattern is very clear.
Yeah. Hold on. I was just texting Rosalind. Okay. So there's probable cause that a crime has been committed against you. Okay. Well, the crime is responsibility for your actions. But by then it was far too late. Far too late. It's been 2 fucking years since you gave this man a blowjob and you're still here. You gave this man a blowjob 2 years ago and you're still trying to ruin his life. What the hell?
Technically 2 blowjobs, but
dude, Bruce, that's why they were twins.
Thanks for cracking the case there, Lauren.
Oh, Ziana's. Hey, man. Hey, you asshole. Shut up, man. Oh my God. Ziani, thank you for joining us tonight. I haven't seen Ziani in a while. She's like the story of the woman at a funeral who meets a guy, then kills a family member of the deceased just to see the guy again.
Oh, that happened? Oh my gosh.
Maybe not yet, but there's still time.
That's there's a lot of crazy cases out there.
Yeah. All right, where are we at here? I'm going to close out this police report, which says nothing because it's not telling me anything. But by then it was far too late. For more than a year, Echard... by then it was far too late. But for more than a year, Echard has made a mockery of the law. Oh, God, you're joking.
That's just... that's weird. I mean, again, it's more inflammatory language just to incite a response. It's not a cogent argument.
A man explicitly ordered not to utter my name. He was never ordered not to utter your name. Who instead shouted it from every platform he could find. He was never ordered not to utter her name. That's stupid as hell. A man instructed to cease his harassment. What harassment? Yet broadcast his threats to hundreds of thousands, turning strangers into vigilantes armed with misinformation and hate. What misinformation, you dumbass? You filled out a blank police report and emailed it and then posted it to this Medium article and you're like, this man is harassing me. No, you sucked his dick twice. He didn't want to be with you. Get the fuck over it. Jesus.
Oh, boy. You know, the problem with misinformation, like if you have people, they're the flat earthers or the lizard people, conspiracies, right? The solution is not to silence those people, okay? You don't just say, I'm going to get an order of protection, injunction against harassment, restraining order. You don't contact YouTube and try to shut those people down. You don't try to call their boss and get them fired from their jobs. The solution to misinformation and bad speech is better speech. So what Laura needs to do is, if Clayton has said something that's wrong, prove that it's wrong, and then you will convince rational people like myself. That's where she fails. She's telling me he's spreading misinformation and hate, but she hasn't demonstrated that he has. And that's the failing here.
Mm-hmm. My God. Okay.
What are we doing with Rosalind here? What's going on?
Oh, sorry. I was trying to send her a link. Anyways, for more than a year, Echard's made a mockery of the law, blah, blah. Where did we get to? We did that. I'm trying to never find it. Reflecting now, I can't help but wonder if I had reported him at the very beginning. What, when your mouth was full of his dick? I mean, when he first defied the order of protection, would things have turned out differently?
The very beginning of what?
Of the blowjob, I guess. I mean,
well, she didn't have an order of protection at that point. Like, again, this very unspecific language. It's not convincing. It's like, what does this mean? It doesn't mean anything. It's just
right. You want to read those last couple of lines while I send Rosalind a link here, because she's finally going to join us, because we have this other one short thing to read after this.
The question here, of course, is if she thinks he defied an order of protection at an earlier point in time, then that would have been the time to file a report. But we know there have been other calls. So, is she talking about the calls she did make versus a call she didn't make? And if it was a call she didn't make, why didn't she? She doesn't explain why she didn't. So again, it's another omission. Instead, I stayed silent and he kept speaking. Well, why? Why would you stay silent? If Clayton says something that's wrong and you can prove it's wrong, then prove it. Like, that's how litigation works. That's how science works. Every threat, every lie, every rallying cry to his followers pushed the story further out of my hands. Well, there's plenty of people covering this case, and they're not doing it at Clayton's request. So she's making it seem as if Clayton is organizing this whole thing or is in charge of everything, and he really isn't. People would be covering this case. It's a public court case. People would be covering it whether Clayton wanted them to or not.
Right.
I don't think he has an opinion. I mean, I think he's probably of the opinion that more coverage is better, because if you examine a claim, if you have a complicated math equation and you have one mathematician look at it, that's nice. But if you have 10 and try to figure out the complicated equation, that's even better. So it behooves both sides to have more people examine the evidence of this case. Mm-hmm. When your goal here with this post is to try and silence people looking at the case, trying to silence people asking other people to look at the case, that to me is kind of nefarious. Why is silence the answer? Why is trying to silence someone else the answer?
Well,
he said it himself.
Go ahead.
Yeah. You versus me and my little army behind me, you stand no chance. Mm-hmm. And again, he's speaking colloquially. It's not like he commands an army. No. I mean, I've spent a lot of years moderating for Dave on YouTube and Dave's Discord and watching Reddit. And there's no army that can be commanded here. The public will do what the public wants to do. And that's the power of sort of crowdsourcing this information. That's why I liken this case to the Don't F with Cats documentary a little bit. Because the people will figure it out, if you give them enough time to look at the evidence.
Yeah. Wait, Rosalind!
Hello.
What's up? How's it going?
Cheers.
What does your hat say? What? Oh, I see. Okay.
That's a classic.
1 second, guys. Hear me out. Thank you for the $5. We know that Laura writes and rants when she feels backed into a corner. Since it's all gaslighting, this means her stress is rising. It's great. Rosalind, you've done what is it called? What do you call it? The fuck off episodes of your podcast, or not a podcast, but like you said it's not a podcast. Yeah, right.
Rosalind tells people to F off, not a podcast.
That's it. Yes. You've done an episode about this, haven't you?
Oh, I did. Dingus and Laura Lauren.
Okay,
Yeah.
it was a little while back. I remember because I like slept through it. I think by accident.
You
or
did.
something.
You slept through it. You were
I'm
fine.
so sorry.
You ghosted me. How dare you?
Oh my gosh. I ghosted everyone. I ghosted myself, man. I didn't get anything done that day.
Who rattled her cage? What woke her up? What happened?
We're trying to figure that out.
It's Clayton's birthday today. I guess that's why she released this today. But Dave's birthday is Thursday, so I'm expecting her book on Thursday. Her book launch.
Or a package of poop in the mail.
Yes, we haven't determined that yet. Apparently, they don't. They know the origin of poopsenders.com, but there are other websites, so I'm sure she could send that to someone.
Wait.
Oh man,
what?
Were you not here for that part of the stream? Oh god,
no.
Somebody sent Rachel Mitchell, county attorney in Maricopa County, poop in the mail on Valentine's Day.
Yeah.
The fake twins' birthday, by the way.
Oh yeah.
Oh, that's right. Oh, was it a double bagger?
Unclear. I don't think we have that
it.
information. We don't have that much information yet. But keep your eyes out, I guess, because we'll figure it out.
We learned it's most likely not real poo. It's a poo. It's poo faux po or what? How do you say it?
I don't think that was it, Bruce. I can't remember what it was though, so I'll give you that one. We'll give you that one. Poo faux pas. Poo faux pas.
Or is that like say foy poi?
Foy poi.
Foy poi.
Mm-hmm.
So there's this article on victimsoflauraowens.com that the person, I think it was the person who runs the website, but I'm not positive. They didn't put an artist or a writer's name here, wrote in response to this article because Laura Owens, when she puts out these Medium articles, is hoping to manipulate SEO, which is kind of, oh, whoops, I didn't mean to bump my mic there, which is kind of interesting when you look at the title of her article, which I think had something to do with a smear campaign. Because look at what's going on right now with one of the most popular cases in the country and internationally, the Blake Lively, Justin Baldoni thing with the smear campaign narrative. Honestly, on both sides are alleging the other side did a smear campaign. So Laura Owens is here inserting herself into that narrative, saying there's a smear campaign against her by Clayton Echard. Of course, we all know who've been following this case closely, there's no smear campaign. There's just the fact that she was never pregnant. But she's trying to manipulate the SEO here in her favor. She's mentioned it before. She has previously, allegedly paid some sort of bot outlet to write a favorable article about her. I remember that Dave Neal covered that a few months ago. I think it was. Bruce, do you remember that article?
There are some very strange articles out there. I saw one the other day that was like one of these Q&A type articles.
Yeah.
And it was all about like how Clayton and Laura have broken up, but it was because of their busy Hollywood lives or whatever, and they're still friends. Like it reads like you're reading something about J-Lo and Ben Affleck or something, and you're like, what am I reading? Like, it's very strange.
Oh my god, dude.
But yeah, 2025, year of the smear.
Year of the smear.
Oh no. Bruce, I know that
sounds nasty.
You watch The Bachelor, Bachelorette still, Bruce, because I know you do your streams
every
on
now
Monday
and then.
nights, yeah. Rosalind, do you watch The Bachelor, Bachelorette?
No.
How do you come across all of this?
Well, first on Law Talk with Mike, and then then through Megan.
Megan. Which Megan?
Megan
Which
Fox.
Megan? Megan Fox. Okay.
Law Talk with Mike referred the case to Megan Fox, I believe.
Oh, okay. So I was only watching Dave around the beginning of all this. So Dave, and then I was vaguely paying attention to Clayton's social media, but I'm not like that into. I don't check Instagram and stuff like that much. So I actually didn't see a lot of his stories and shit until somebody posted them on Reddit.
It was a big deal because Dave was the only person really covering the case in any level of detail beyond people discussing it on Reddit.
Shouting it from the mountaintops.
Law Talk with Mike was really the first person who would even consider bringing Dave on, just because I think people were worried about, litigation or what was going on with this case. So, but Mike, of course, has stones and brought Dave on.
Mike's is cool. So we have this article here on the Victims of Laura Owens website. I'm going to put the link in the chat here for you guys, just in case you want to follow along or read it later. That's fine too, because there's lots of stuff on this website. It's very thorough. And also on the Padlet, I think that's still up, which has a lot of timeline oriented stuff. So I'm losing my voice a little, but I'm going to try to get through this. And we're going to read the beginning of this article. It says, "Dear Google, here's what actually happened since Laura keeps rewriting it for you." In her latest SEO-optimized Medium article, Laura Owens returns to the internet with another scorched earth tell-all, casting herself as the misunderstood heroine battling the dark forces of Clayton Echard and his so-called Reddit army. It's the kind of piece clearly written with Google algorithms in mind, Clayton's full name, key dates, and plenty of searchable keywords designed to ensure her version of events tops the results when anyone types Clayton Echard plus anything. If you've ever wondered what weaponized victimhood and performance journalism look like, this is it. So in the spirit of fair play, we thought it was time someone fact-check the narrative using court records, primary sources, and, actual reality. Let's take a little stroll through the world outside of the Owens narrative bubble. And that's where it starts here. Oh my goodness. Let's begin with the basics. Her case was dismissed for lying. All right. On June 18th, 2024, Maricopa County Superior Court Judge Julie Ann Mata ruled in favor of Clayton Echard, making a ruling of non-paternity for Laura's fake twins. Well, I just assumed she did it because of her dad, but okay. Not just because she failed to prove her case, but because the judge found Owens had knowingly presented a false claim. That's not courtroom poetry. That's a legal finding, which is the equivalent of the court saying this entire thing was built on a lie, and we can prove it. Clayton was awarded $149,147.25 in legal fees, and Laura herself was referred to the county attorney for criminal prosecution. And there are links here, guys, but we've already seen them, and I don't want to delay any further the reading of the article because we already spent a lot of time on poopcenters.com. If you missed that in Owen's article, it's probably because she was too busy cherry-picking quotes and comparing her pain to a tsunami. Did she actually compare her pain to a tsunami? I forgot already.
That was the Judge Judy. That was the Judge Judy quote about Clayton unleashing a tsunami on Reddit, I guess.
In her mouth, or I mean, that is how the babies happen, right?
I don't know. I mean, I think the problem is Judge Judy hasn't seen a lot of edgy memes on the internet. So when he sees a Spirit Halloween costume, it blew his mind. It's like his first day on the internet,
Judge Judy just needs to follow Rosalind. It's fine.
Maybe.
Maybe.
He needs to go to meme elementary. Rosalind's PhD level. He needs to work up there.
Yeah, that's true.
Hello,
hey, Stir. What's up, Stir Crazy? All right. The pregnancy that disappeared in a plot hole. Laura filed a paternity suit on August 1st, 2023, claiming Clayton Echard had impregnated her with twins after an intimate encounter in May 2023. By November, she testified under oath that she was 24 weeks pregnant. But like a poorly timed soap opera exit, the twins were suddenly gone. By December 2023, Owens claimed she had miscarried and wanted the case dismissed. The timing? Off. The documentation? Non-existent. The explanation? A creative buffet. Vanishing twins? A previous miscarriage in July, maybe October. We lost track. So did she, apparently. Let's not skip the most cinematic twist. Owens had admitted in her deposition to submitting a photoshopped ultrasound image. Seriously, this isn't speculation. This is on court record, as in she admitted it. Whoever wrote this was going for the throat, man.
Oh, yeah.
I know Bruce was in the tech van with Dave. Rosalind, were you in the actual courtroom when this happened?
I was in the adjacent room.
Overflow room.
Overflow.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
Right. So did you hear Judge Mata's dad say that basically he was going to blow up the earth if Clayton didn't win the case? Because I heard that's what happened.
I didn't hear any of that.
Okay. I didn't think so.
No, never happened.
Yeah. Well, I know wasn't your I think it was your live stream they mentioned in some of the doc. Yeah. What was that about? What did you feel like when you read that? Like what was your thought?
That was
oh, that's a rabbit hole.
Yeah, that's what Hava was just sharing what she had discussed with. She was just being Hava. Hava talks to everybody.
Oh yeah.
And she had just introduced herself to Judge Mata's dad, and I guess it was sort of like, what do you think, or blah blah blah. I can't even remember anymore. But it was more along the lines that it was like a circus, and if somehow that is
sure,
that means that there was a conspiracy.
Yeah. Because I watched some of that stream, but I missed the part that they were actually referencing, and I was just like, did anyone actually say that? I don't know if anyone actually said that.
Oh, I think Laura has it on her channel.
Oh, that's right. I forgot.
Yeah,
I forgot that she did that. That's how many followers she has. I fucking forgot she existed. So
well, I didn't copyright strike her, so.
Hey, she does it to everyone else. You might as well, right? But yeah, I know what you mean.
Not worth it.
Nah, it's a pain in the ass. I definitely know what you mean. So she has she ever contacted you directly and been like, "Hey, take that down" or anything like that?
Nope.
Just what I thought.
I don't know what it is about me that people don't ask me to do things like that.
I mean, I could ask you to do things like that, but you don't have any videos of me on your channel. I mean, you just have some secret videos. More like you need more like stuff that people don't want of them on the internet, and then maybe you'll get those kinds of messages. Just my advice.
Almost all of my coverage of her has been pretty much something she wouldn't want.
I don't know. It's very confusing because it's like she wouldn't want it, but she does. Because at the same time, it's like she doesn't want those kinds of things said about her. But also, what would she do without the attention? So I feel like she's probably stuck between a rock and a hard place.
Yeah. I mean,
I think it's selective, right? Because we can look at what she writes, and she does. Like, she should come to Oregon or Washington State because she could be the best cherry picker in the entire forest industry out here because she likes to cherry pick information that suits her purposes.
Right. Yeah.
Gotcha.
Oh my gosh. All right. Let's see. We got through that. Conspiracy, Clayton's army versus Laura's algorithm. Did we get through this one? I forgot. Some of the Sonali with the followers. We did that. But the Reddit community she refers to, justice for Clayton, didn't materialize out of thin air. It formed in response to her false claims and the mountain of inconsistencies people began pointing out. These users posted receipts, timelines, and contradictions, not hate speech. Owens conflating public accountability with harassment is a sleight of hand she relies on often. Yep, that tracks. The TEDx talk, the plain note, and the weaponization of personal narrative. In her latest medium opus, Laura Owens dusts off her 2018 TEDx talk to retell the story of a stranger on a plane who, allegedly moved by concern, passed her a handwritten note recognizing she was in an abusive relationship. It's cinematic, sure, heartfelt, possibly, but like most things in a Lifetime original and most things Laura writes, it's missing context.
Right.
Because that stranger on the plane, she didn't have the full backstory. She saw a moment, not a pattern. Yeah.
Do we really think there was a person on a plane?
I actually do. I think there was. So, like, my opinion is that there was a person on a plane. But the thing is, with abuse, with emotional abuse especially, somebody can push you until you break, and then you might say something, or you might not even say something bad, but just like say it in a tone that sounds to a bystander hostile. Like you're doing your best to give this person everything they want, but they're badgering you to the point that like you're at your wit's end and there's nothing you can do right, and you just want them to stop torturing you. And so you react to that in that moment. And in that moment, the people around you who have never seen, met, or heard from you before, they might make a judgment that you're being abusive or hostile or aggressive, and they have no idea what led up to getting you there, So like that's kind of what I feel like might have happened. Is like not even that he was hostile, not even that he was aggressive, but like that he was probably emotional or like at his wit's end and like needed a break. And she probably heard that and reacted to it because of how intense Laura's reaction was by her own description. So,
yeah, I think it's really inferential, right? Based on Laura having a meltdown on a plane as opposed to Mike doing something terrible on a plane.
right.
And I think the way to really figure this out is to watch the TEDx talk and then go watch Mike's interview with Megan Fox and then decide for yourself what you think actually happened.
Yeah. That's man, it's a hard position, I feel like, for him to be in, especially. But he seems like he's such a nice guy. I mean, I've met him and I've talked to him, and he seems like such a good guy. And I'm just kind of like, I can't imagine what it took to get you to that point. But like reading her articles, reading what she's written, and seeing how she was in court and what she lied about and reframed, I'm just kind of like, yeah, I do get it. But at the same time, my mind, it's like, I don't want to get it, because then I have to realize that there are people in this world who are just that evil, you know? So,
Right.
it's tricky.
Yeah. Yeah. So I think it's one of our worst flaws as humans is our ability to hurt other humans.
Yeah. Jam says, and taking a tonal shift here. Jam, thank you for the $2. Jam says, thinking poop senders will be Lauren's new sponsor.
If only.
I mean, I wouldn't say no to that. I don't know if I've told you guys this story yet, but I got my first sponsorship offer a couple months ago. And I was excited about it because I was like, oh, am I going to make it on YouTube to the point where I can actually like make it a decent gig? Because I'm making sponsorship money now. But then I read it and I was like, oh no, this is just not for me. Because my first offer was from like a sex toy company. And
I think that's usually the first one everybody gets.
Okay, well, I didn't know that. And so I'm a little awkward. And so I was just like, hello. I think because people were also complaining at this time that creators and you know, like creators, we don't get to pick our ads. So like the ads that are shown to viewers, we don't choose them.
Right.
So people were complaining that creators' videos were playing like sex toy ads and stuff like that while we were talking about It Ends With Us, which involves domestic violence.
Oh.
And so I was reading this email. And I was like, well, I obviously can't do this right now because most of my content is about this people like feuding over this movie about domestic violence. Right. And so people are going to get really mad, and I didn't know how to deal with that. So I eventually just like, I just kind of ghosted. I was just like, you know what? I'd rather just do my other jobs. I can't do it.
Was it Adam and Eve?
No.
Okay.
I won't say the name, but it was not Adam and Eve. I can promise you that. So
okay.
Yeah. I'm sure Bruce will take up their offer as soon as they reach.
I mean, I thought you were going to say it was condoms, and you were just like, well, I don't need them. But
well, I don't need condoms because Schnitzel Ninja already sent me some.
You're fully stocked.
I did not ask for that, but here we are. Oh my goodness. All right.
Oh no, Karen Cars, say it isn't so.
Wait, what? I always see Mint Mobile Ryan Reynolds ads when I watch her. Oh no!
I've heard that on other channels too. YouTube plays those, like on Dave's videos and other channels.
Yep.
Oh dear.
And it's like, I don't think you guys know what you're doing. Like the YouTube algorithm needs to tweak.
Oh goodness. All right. Where were we in this article now? So we got to that part, the exhausting great hits manipulation. So maybe that airplane note was real. Maybe a kind stranger genuinely believed she was helping, but let's not pretend that a single act of perception without the slightest idea of Laura's private behavior validates everything she says. It's like judging a movie based on the trailer, only to find out the actual
sighting.
What's that?
Dave Neal sighting.
Oh? Mm-hmm. Dave, what's up, man? How's it going? Dave's birthday, guys, is, it's midnight now, so technically his birthday is tomorrow, Thursday, yeah.
It's a live stream for that.
Yeah. All right. Where were we at? Let's not pretend a single act of perception without the slightest idea of Laura's private behavior validates everything she says. It's like judging a movie based on the trailer, only to find out the actual film is a psychological thriller. It's like Gone Girl shit. If Gone Girl had 13 phone numbers. And the plot twist is that the narrator might be the one gaslighting everyone else. At some point, when the same person is this is like it reminds me of fucking Joe Goldberg. I just watched the last season of You. Has anyone else watched that?
Oh yeah.
I watched season 1.
Dude, you didn't watch past that?
No.
Oh, it gets
I have
so
work
much
to do.
better.
It does get better. Yeah. You have work to do. Fuck that.
Oh boy.
You have work to do.
I mean,
have
work
time
to
for
do
that.
in watching the show.
Bro, oh my god, Bruce, I need some poop for Tasha's garden beds I'm building.
Yeah.
Well, we
I
know
mean,
where to
well,
get it. Poopsenders.com,
Yeah,
everybody.
Poopsenders.com. I mean,
You
Rachel
can borrow
Mitchell
some
has
from Rachel Mitchell.
has some. We don't know what it really is though, so I don't know if it'd be good for Dave's carrots or whatever. It might not.
Oh my god.
I don't know if that's FDA approved, but I'm sure RFK would approve of it. It'd be fine. He'll get the Poop Center fertilizer right on over here. It'll be great.
No comment, man.
You're gonna have the best carrots ever. The carrots are gonna be so good.
Jesus Christ.
I
Stinky.
don't even know what I'm saying.
Are the carrots vaccines? No, I'm just kidding.
Oh
Anyways.
jeez. That poor guy.
Anyways.
Oh well.
It's like judging a movie based on the trailer only to find out the actual film is a psychological thriller and the plot twist is that the narrator might be the one gaslighting everyone else. At some point, when the same person has fabricated pregnancies, illnesses, legal claims, and personal tragedies, how many times has her father been dying? I mean, all while playing the eternal victim, you have to stop nodding along and start asking real questions. Not because you lack empathy, but because you value truth more than performance. Conclusion. When the story falls apart, blame everyone else.
True.
Laura Owens' Medium article is not a new story. It's a sequel to a long-running performance in which every man who pushes back becomes a villain and every legal loss is framed as a moral victory. But when a court finds you knowingly made false claims, when your pregnancy evidence is falsified, and when you're actively under review for criminal charges, you don't get to call yourself the truth teller anymore. You get to call yourself lucky if Google doesn't autofill Laura Owens' fake pregnancy before you finish typing. So, Laura, if this rebuttal shows up under your name on Google too, good. That's what happens when you keep trying to rewrite history for SEO clicks. Eventually, the truth shows up in the results.
Yeah, this is a good point. You know, the only new thing in this Medium article is this new police report from Easter Monday, right? That's really everything else is old news. There's nothing new in there. And the thing is, if that Easter Monday police report is the new thing, it has the least amount of detail in the Medium blog.
Yeah.
Like there's the least context, the least information. It's just not well done.
So there's a new police report? I really jumped on late. So
apparently she filed a police report for Clayton violating the
last Monday
her order of protection on Easter
last Monday when he was out of the country. Apparently
and
out of the country.
We don't know why she did that. She just sort of said,
well,
"I
we know
finally
why she did
this."
Because she's a fucking
she's been ruminating for 2 years, and suddenly a light bulb went on Easter. I guess. I mean, it doesn't make any sense.
Wow. Yeah, that's weird.
Yeah, the whole thing is insane, man.
Well, I mean, I guess it would be like almost their 2-year anniversary coming up soon, right?
Their 2-year anniversary of their blowjob.
Oh, jeez.
Hey, you
My
know,
Lord.
Apparently it was pretty significant to her.
I mean, they need something for the anniversary. The anniversary of the fake twins' fake birthday on Valentine's Day was a bag of poop. I mean, so Clayton needs to get something.
But that was sent to
Sure.
Rachel Mitchell. It's different. Oh my God.
I don't know why she gets all the goodies.
I have a special
know either,
edition
man.
Easter Giphy award for her. It's a little Easter
Yeah.
egg.
Oh,
My God, dude.
Yeah.
Well, I am losing
That
my
doesn't make any
voice.
sense.
No, I've come to know that nothing.
yeah.
she
We've been
says
trying to
makes sense.
figure it out. I mean, the only thing we've seen is this pattern of doing things on like holidays or important dates. Like with the what was it, Christmas police report with Liz Neptune, and we've got this, and the due date was supposed to be Valentine's Day. There's this thing, letters were sent to Dave Neal on very important days, So there's a pattern here of doing things on these holidays or important days for people, and that's about as far as we've gotten.
I feel like it'd be more poetic if David blogged on Dave's birthday, to be honest.
Right.
Maybe that's what we'll see on Thursday. Who knows?
I mean, I don't know which one of them wants to suck Dave's dick more, Laura or David. I'm not sure. So I would love to see that contest. Just kidding. Please don't do
Ew, no, please no.
No, I was fucking with you. I don't want to see that. I'm a lesbian. Please, no.
Me either.
Lauren, you keep turning down these great sponsorship opportunities, and I'm just not sure what to tell you about it.
I know, man. That's why I'm poor. Oh, he says me either. OnlyFans. Hey, man, you could be on OnlyFans right next to Josh Sider. I mean, come on. You probably make just as much money. The guy sucks. Literally. All right.
No.
I gotta roll, guys. It's past midnight and I got work in the morning, so I got some stuff
thanks
I gotta
for having
do.
me on. First time.
Yeah. Thanks for joining.
Long time listener, first time hitter.
Sorry I slept through your podcast that one time.
Damn, Lauren.
Damn it, Bruce. All right, guys. Appreciate it. He's killing it on there. Dude, I believe it. I'm not going to go and look for myself, but I believe that you know that. Thanks for the info, Dave. Oh my gosh.
Wow.
Now that's going to be in my head when I try to go to bed tonight is Dave Neal saying Josh Sider's killing it on OnlyFans.
Dave is dedicated to Bachelor Nation news, even if he has to subscribe to a dozen OnlyFans accounts. I mean, he's doing what he has to do out there.
Well, you know what? I'm not going to be able to sleep tonight without thinking about Dave and Josh. So thanks, Dave.
Wow.
Wait, I just watched the craziest interview ever. I can't wait till tomorrow to upload it. So I'm uploading it now. You're uploading it now? I'll watch it now. Yeah, but you guys distracted me when I went to upload it. We have a way of distracting.
Yes.
I mean, we did do like a 20-minute excursion to poopsenders.com.
Yeah,
I said he was killing it as a joke since he keeps faking his own death. Oh, I get it now.
Yeah.
I get it now. Sorry. I just thought you guys were tight, you know? I didn't realize that.
Well, both could be true.
Right, dude. All right, thanks everybody for watching. We'll catch you tomorrow. Dave, don't engage with Josh. And I'll try not to think about Josh either. All right. Bye everyone. Thanks for joining us. See ya.